there's not one person bigger than the program. This promotion is doing you a favor. This is a platform to be able to perform. All you got to do is show up and fight.
Right before my fighters step in the ring, I always give them a hug and I say, either you're going to embarrass them in front of their family or they're going to embarrass you in front of yours. So make your choice.
Woo, and that shit ignites me. I have 2 of these at home. They sit right next to my desk every day. They're out in the open, right next to all my law books and stuff.
Earned and deserved, brother. Earned and deserved.
A lot of these guys are pulling out just because they're scared, which is fine. But my point is if you're scared to do this,
You shouldn't be doing it at all.
there's not a casual MMA game.
I love everything that's going on right now, this path that I'm on, how hard it is, how difficult my days are. This is exactly what it's supposed to feel like.
Since you're a whiskey guy, so we got you 2 bottles as a gift. Just want you to
As
know.
a gift?
Yeah, as a gift. This is for you.
That's nice.
But one thing we want to try with you, John, is if you can take a shot of each and then see which one is which.
Damn, we feel like I got the red carpet treatment right over here.
All right, another day, another episode of the Fight Family Podcast, but today's going to be a very fun episode. And I'll tell you why. Hold on.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
got one of my favorite coach-student duos of all time. And they're a good time.
I want to know why this coach is one of your favorite.
Listen, I think he doesn't give a fuck. He's gangster. He says
He
it
is
how it
gangster.
is. He's a
Yes.
real one. I mean, what more can you ask from someone?
Okay, and why is this athlete one of your favorites?
I think he's one of my favorites. Number one, he's one of the most versatile fighters that has been on our roster before. We haven't seen him fight in a while, but he's coming back soon. We'll be talking about that on the pod. And he just has some of the best fucking potential out there. So, and I think these two together just makes a fucking dream team. That's
The
what it is.
dynamic fucking duel.
Yeah, definitely better than me and you.
For sure. But
Yeah.
their personalities, in a way, too, Ryan, couldn't be more different in a way.
Yeah, maybe that's why they mesh so well.
You got the comical Mejalee.
I'm here.
He
What's
is
up?
here. What's
And
up?
no
What's up?
nonsense,
What's up?
John.
No, no.
Maniac.
Heck yeah.
I'm calling this episode The Return of the Champ.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I like that.
You were our 170 Rising Stars champ a little while back, ended up vacating the belt, but you're back now, potentially going to get on that March card. And like my dad said, return of the champ. So I'm thinking that next fight will most likely be for a title. How do you feel about that?
Oh man, I would love that. I'm happy to be back under the UNF banner. Been gone for a little bit, but still been working. So we're looking forward to coming back, and I really want to come back and let's make that move towards 155. So that's really the goal. That's the goal next is let's come back. Let's drop that weight class. Let's go to 155 now.
Bro, he's going to be scary at 155, John.
Oh, dude, he's going to be scary. I mean, I think, Mejalee, just his discipline, his work ethic, and, we've seen him at 160. 160, was it 160, Mejalee?
160, yeah.
160. I
I
mean,
thought
he was
160.
lethal. It was first round knockout at 160. So I think that weight's going to be a game changer for him. Yeah, I think we're going to get the fastest, most explosive Mejalee for sure.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be at 55 on the roster right now.
You know,
That's
the
what I'm
thing
saying.
is, Mejalee, if you know him, he's not scary. He's a calm, cool, very intellectual person. But in that cage, it all changes. How do you turn it on and off, bro?
Oh man, I love it. The switch. We call it the switch. Being able to turn on, on and off that switch. It's just based on how we train, because that's exactly how we train. We turn the switch exactly when we train. We we might start off here with maybe running, or conditioning, and then we'll immediately go into hard sparring, or we'll immediately go into throwing 1,000 kicks. You know what I mean? Something that Coach John wants to do, or we'll do 10 minutes straight of squats, which is just something that's going to completely throw you off your game, right? We've been running for an hour. Why are we doing these squats? And the whole purpose of why we do things like that is to keep me on my toes.
I'm sure
You know
John
what I
keeps
mean?
showing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm sure
Yeah.
he keeps showing. What's the most wild thing he's had you do at practice? 'Cause I feel like there's
It's
a
coming
long,
out.
a long list of things.
Yeah, keeping me on my toes for sure. Just running up in the mountains. There's all different types of trails. So that's one thing that he does is we don't run the same trails. So I don't even get used to running the same mountain. Sometimes we'll be above 7,000, 8,000 feet running, and sometimes we'll do sprints. Sometimes it's just distance. I don't know what I'm doing before I come. So every day is crazy.
And I'm guessing that drives you fucking nuts.
It does.
Fucking
Knowing your
nuts.
personality,
it
bro,
does.
I think that probably drives you nuts.
It does. And he likes that.
Yeah.
He likes that.
Drives
He
him
enjoys
fucking
that.
nuts.
He enjoys that.
Yeah.
John, why is that so important to get Mejalee? It seems to me, bro, you're old school. You're hardcore, no pain, no gain. But why is it seems like it's important to you to get Mejalee out of his comfort zone?
I'm trying to
That
make
seems-
like the fight day, in my opinion, like the fight day, I've been there, like it's super stressful, right? It's stressful on all the guys. And I try to make it as absolutely brutal and as stressful as I possibly can in every session, because I'm like, I want him to get in there on fight day with you guys and be like, damn, dude,
Fucking
at
walk
least
in the
I'm not.
park.
Yeah. Like if you don't, yeah, I mean, if you don't like, if you don't push it to the extreme in the training, you're not going to suddenly push it to the extreme in freaking on fight day, And I try to make it as absolutely stressful as possible. I think that's one of the things I want to change with him in this camp is, I'm actually going to give him more in this way, of a schedule, of what we're going to be doing. And just because I've come to learn about him he does a lot, he does a lot of work on his own. He really does. That's what makes Mejalee so successful. And I think, sometimes when I'm making him do 1,000 squats, what I don't freaking realize is my dumbass is the dude may have done squats that morning.
Yep.
So I think, just improving our process and improving what we do, I'm still going to make it as brutal as I possibly can, but I'm going to give him a schedule of the brutality.
You know what I like about that? It's kind of like, it's not my way or the highway. You're really looking at, what do I believe in, but what does this particular athlete need?
Yeah. I'm trying to always look at it of like, how do I get the best out of him? Not how do I get the best. There's things I show him and he's like, I don't really like that. Mejalee likes, I don't want to give up too much secrets, but he likes certain things that I don't like. He likes spinning stuff. I'm not a big fan of spinning stuff. So I can either not be a humble ass dude and just be like, it's my way. I'm the greatest Muay Thai coach in the history of Muay Thai. I know all things. Or I can be like, hey dude, this dude's really fucking good at spinning shit. So maybe I should teach it to him. And I think that's what I really try to do is help him get the most of what he wants out of himself. Yeah, definitely.
What's it like having a coach like that can, obviously has his way, has his style, but will adapt to you as a fighter and what you're looking for too, and kind of just mesh together?
I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Somebody to reason and work with, but at the same time, being humble as a fighter and realizing like, I've had a couple fights, but this guy's fought in Thailand. He's had double the amount of life experience and fight experience as me.
Yeah.
Right.
So also being humble and realizing like maybe he knows. He's been around the block a couple of times. So you listen
But I'm
to
sure
your
sometimes you
coaches too.
question that for
Of
sure.
course, of course. That's just
He's like,
natural.
run up and down here 25 times.
Yeah, I'm like, well, why?
What the hell?
fuck?
I'm like, why are we running down why are we running up this hill? What does this have to do with fighting? He's
Yeah.
like, and exactly. And I'm like, and I'm just mentally screwed the whole time running. But he also knows I'm the type that like, I'm not gonna turn down the fade. I'm gonna, let's run up this mountain then. You're not gonna make me quit. You know what I mean? So I'll do it. And then after I'm, super thankful for it. But yeah, of course I question them. Why are we doing this? What does this have to do with fighting? But it has everything to do with fighting.
Yeah.
It has absolutely everything to
I
do
think
with fighting.
sometimes what people don't realize is, and again, I've never gotten in the cage like you guys have, but I think in just life, like mentality is everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of special people that are gifted athletes, this and that. But when you have an athlete that's strong mentally, that could go through the adversity or through the challenges he puts you through, that puts you steps ahead of your opponents.
I believe it. I've had fights, and we've all had fights where I feel like I've had really, really good camps. I was dialed in on everything. I worked, hard. And then I think that the fight turned out exactly how I wanted to. And then there's been fights where I was like, I feel like maybe I slacked off a little bit and stuff, and then maybe you don't get the result. Even in a win, maybe you win and you still feel like, ooh, man, like I barely squeezed by that one. It should have been, I should have done a little bit more. I should have, output a little bit more. So
you seem to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but you seem to be an analyzer.
Yes.
Like you really analyze and are data driven and factor so you just sort of self-reflect on everything, whether it's the win or the loss, you're going to analyze the shit out of it.
Absolutely. Even in a win, like we've talked about it before, there's been wins that he's had to force me to watch because I feel like, I'm like, man, I should have done so much better in that one. I almost don't want to watch. He's like, no, sit down and watch it. So you know exactly what you need to do, what you need to work on. But yeah, I like to break that down. I like to analyze myself round by round, my body posture, how fast did I get back to the corner? How fast am I meeting in the middle of the ring? All those things matter. At first I didn't think that, people cared that much, but obviously my opponents are also paying attention to these things. So I'm starting to realize, like, okay, my opponents care. They're starting to watch these things. I should know these things about myself. I should be a step ahead of them. I got to know myself better than they know me. Yeah. That's for sure. So, but yeah, so it's working.
That's one thing I've seen him take on, it just is, we've been training together 5 years now. And as he's gotten older, I'm proud of him because, he's in school, like he is a good student of school. Like he's got more degrees than I'll ever have. He's in law school.
He has more than I have.
Yeah,
all three of them.
Yeah, he's got more than
all three of us
the whole
combined,
room,
probably.
basically, right? But I've come to learn about him as like he's always been a very good student at school, and now I think he's becoming a really good student of the fight game. Because again, you wouldn't want to watch the fights. I'm like, bro, this fucking makes no sense to me. you know, like, go watch yourself. What are you doing? Like, you know, and now he's doing it, and I'm seeing like the improvement and the.
Was it you just didn't want to watch yourself, or you don't believe in sort of the tape study thing, or is it?
It was a little bit of both because, you know, being especially before this, especially before fighting on like a UNF, right? Where a lot of fights don't get recorded and stuff. We kind of have this idea of like, oh, I'll fight anybody. Film doesn't matter. It's just a fight. But film absolutely matters. You're going to be able to see their mistakes. It matters for yourself as well. So I just didn't watch film just because I was like, by the time this next fight comes around, I'll be a whole different fighter. I don't have to worry about those things. But I'm finding that I'm making some of the same mistakes. I'm like, oh no, film's important. If I don't watch it from one or the other, you know, even in a win, even in a 30-second knockout or 50-second knockout, whatever it was, there's things that I definitely could have done better. You know what I mean? And being able to identify those and change those is that's the part that we're at right now. Identifying what's wrong and then, you know, changing it for these next fights. But you have to watch film to be able to do that. So it was a little bit of both. I just didn't want to watch myself. I didn't like watching myself. I kind of felt like, oh, that's the old me. That's 3 months ago. That's the old me. I don't need to watch that, but I need to watch that.
So my company was featured, and this is, I just say this not to make about, but I feel you on that one because like I've been featured on like 2020 and some other things, right? And those episodes came out, and it took me a month to watch them. Because I cringed. I didn't want to see myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And now we do a podcast. We have an episode every week. We cringe every fucking week.
Dude, like when we hear our voices, it's just like, and we're sitting here doing it. It's just crazy.
No, I like watching. I'm like, damn, dude, I'm fucking handsome as fuck.
No, you probably do. No, but everybody's a little different. Your personality is different. You're cool, like cool with that shit.
You know, and that's I really think like I've seen so much maturity at Mejalee like the last 2 years. He's coming. I think that's going to really start to translate like into the ring. Like,
well, on that note, like maturity, I mean, John obviously has his shit together because, you know, you guys reached out to us. We ended up getting lunch a couple of weeks back and we talked about our future plans and all that stuff. And Mejalee presented us with a fucking business plan from an athlete. And I have to say,
he wrote that whole thing.
I know.
He wrote that.
He presented it. And that was one of my favorite moments as long as we've had you in that.
Very cool.
It's never happened, but
really?
It was fucking.
That never happened.
No one's ever done that. People could talk and say like, oh, this is what I'm thinking, but it was on paper. It was professional. And I don't know. I just fucking love that. I think it says a lot about you and like your growth and how you're trying to carry yourself. You know what I mean? And I fucking love that. We were both like, what the fuck? This is amazing.
We could go in and check out my desk. It's sitting on my desk right now.
That's a bit. I think being a professional is more than just, you know, like a status, like I'm a professional fighter, right? You need to be a professional in all facets, right? With business, how you conduct business, how you carry yourself, how you want to be remembered. I think all those things matter. And definitely in, you know, coming back to you guys and making sure that we wanted to fight with you guys, we wanted to be as professional as possible. I think all those little things, you know, matter. They add up.
Well, I think you're super smart, both of you guys, because I think what you do by having meetings like that and putting it out that way, it makes us become even more engaged with you, if that makes sense. You took the time and the effort to meet with us. It's like, it makes us want to do more with you.
And there was no question in my mind when me and Mejalee started talking about, you know, end of the year and the plans for this year. It was like, we both like looked at each other kind of like, I was like, yeah, UNF. Like there was no question. And as I've told you guys, you know, and you've known each other, you know, we didn't see eye to eye on everything. But I said, you guys were always respectful. You were fair. You were honest. You were professional. Even when we didn't see eye to eye on something. And I was like, it was, you know, short of you being like, beat it, guys, we don't want you, which we definitely didn't expect from you guys at all. There was no question in our mind that like when it's time to just continue this and go to the next step of pro, it was you guys, you know.
But I think that says something about your guys' professionalism and maturity too. I mean, people can not see eye to eye on certain issues and just
maybe play the victim or something.
And play the
right?
victim or not want to re-engage or whatever. But it was really cool that we're able to sort of mature together, if that makes sense, and just come together. Because I think, you know, Mejalee, I think from a promotional perspective, you know, you're a top talent. We're super happy to have you under the umbrella. Not only your talent in the cage, but who you are and what you do outside the cage, I think is really, I think it's special. Not many people are doing what you're doing. And I think you are a good example, you know, to the youth also, right? And I think when you're in up next and, you know, you're a champion or whatever it is that you're going to achieve, you could be a role model for others. And I think being from a UNF perspective, being able to be a piece of that platform is meaningful to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having the platform, that's what it's about. Because, you know, we kind of talked about it. I'm going to be who I am regardless, right? And you guys are going to be who you guys are regardless of who fights for you. So I'm gonna be who I am regardless. I'm a people's person. Like you said, I could have that switch. That's gonna carry with me regardless of where I'm at. But being able to have a platform and people that recognize that and want to push that out to people like that's the world of a difference between you guys and any other promotion. What you guys are doing for the fighters. I'm like, why would I want to go anywhere else? There's nowhere else to go. Obviously, you guys are taking over the SoCal market as well, but I just think California in general, there's nobody that's really offering what you guys are offering on the West Coast. I don't even say California, dude. Because Arizona, there's. Trust me, I'm the type. I'm gonna do my research.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do my research,
no, it
bro.
makes me feel good
I'm
because
gonna
I
know.
know that this guy's not just relying on Chat GPT. I know,
Nah, dude, I've done my
I know
research.
you, Mejalee. Like,
I've done my research. So just what you guys are doing for the fighters and the fighters that are growing out here, even some of the guys that are touching the UFC and Taco, what he's able to do. It's like, dude, it's amazing. Like I haven't even had a chance to meet him or necessarily talk to him, but dude, what Taco's doing, it's like at the same time, it doesn't surprise me. I'm like, yeah, this is what the UNF, machine is driving, and this is what you guys are pushing out is good fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not surprised. So this is where it's at, is right here.
What's kind of cool, like, and how I look at you and Ryan, I'm sure you agree with this, is like we've got our next guys on the cusp of the UFC. Gianni, Romero, Arthur. We probably have 4 or 5 guys that potentially could be getting that call this year. But you're that next graduating class, in my opinion.
Exactly.
The top rising stars, about to go pro are just now going pro. It's super deep.
Yeah.
Lots of talent.
What I like too is like you guys always do, and not to make this an advertisement for Up Next, but we're obviously here for a reason.
Go for it.
You guys offer all of this to these fighters and to amateur fighters. He's an amateur fighter, right? We're at the end of the day, that's what we're here as of right now.
Do you like the word amateur though?
What?
Do you like the word amateur?
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It's semantics to me.
Got it.
But you're doing this with very little expectation. Meaning your expectations are obviously, do your part to sell your tickets, but to show up, right? So like literally all these guys got to do is make the weight, show up, sell a reasonable amount of tickets, which you've never pushed that on us. You're just like, hey guys, what do you want? No problem, right? I want you to fight. And you're doing all of this beautiful Up Next facility, and we just got to show up. So I look at it as like, we're getting the good end of the deal, right? Because like, we could be fighting at Backyards, Bob, cage brawling,
Seriously,
and we got this beautiful facility, Commerce Casino or wherever you're having it at. And, that's super special. And you'd be dumb and ignorant not to recognize it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's cool, and again, I know another thing too, I want to mention to you guys, I think I was talking to Mejalee about this, something I noticed, me being a father, right? You're a father. I like the father-son dynamic. You talk about our dynamic. I like your dynamic because naturally as a fighter, you're going to want to represent. And I said this to Mejalee. I said, Chris is going to want to represent and create set a good example for his son. Yeah. So like when I talk about you guys being fair with us, like, and I say it to the podcast, like, bro, you guys had to strip Mejalee. We're still here because that's a testament to you guys of like, you had your reasons. We had our position at the time, given his life circumstance. But you know what? There was no question because the manner in which you made your decisions was fair, honest, and righteous. And I'm, again, not to make the Up Next, ad, but like we couldn't be, I mean, at least I know you too, we couldn't be happier to be with you guys.
Well, I think too, like, I think you guys have taught us something too, because now what we've done, right, is we've instituted like championship rules that we actually send out to everybody fighting for a belt. Like, so, we could take these situations where we bump heads or didn't agree on something, but for us, we wanted to learn from that situation. So we've now implemented things to make sure with all of our athletes that we're on, we're very transparent. We understand expectations of each other, that there's no like surprises to anyone. So we did implement some things.
Like I did some tape study, maybe if I didn't mention, one thing where I did tape study, we did tape study. I was like, how could we be better on our end to like, just try to ensure like everyone's happy or there's expectations that are just clear. But I do agree. And I mean, feel the same way about you guys. I mean, even if we did bump heads or we didn't agree on things, we had phone calls, we talked with respect, maturity, and just said how we felt. And that was great. And you don't get that with everyone, you know what I mean? So it's nice to be able to work like that. Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a business. It's a business for you guys. You guys aren't doing this for charity. You're doing it in hopes of a return, right? Yep. That's not the only reason, but you're doing it in hopes of a return. And I think if, you respect that these guys could get hurt. And I think as long as there's that respectful partnership between the promotion, which in certain ways is getting lost in the fight community. I think there's that fighter promotion respect. If these guys are giving you a platform to fight on, that's good. I think the fighters will be a lot happier. I
always have saying it's got to be mutually beneficial, right? The athlete needs to feel appreciated. We've got to give them the platform that they deserve. And a lot of, I think, promotions don't feel the athletes deserve it. That's why we spend so much money. I don't think people realize on social media, production, the podcast, because we feel that they deserve the platform. And if you're a promotion, you're asking them to go in there and risk everything and not at least giving them content.
Promote them somewhere. I mean,
to help them promote. Yeah, because again, and I don't know a lot about your background, Mejalee, but a lot of athletes don't have support networks. I know that you are a big support network, with Mejalee, but a lot of guys don't have any support and they've chosen this game. So we feel as a promotion, we've got to meet them halfway and give them everything that they need, to be successful.
Yep. Help them provide that guidance and stuff too. You know?
Yeah.
Too many people use and abuse
like,
them, man.
Everyone's like, how many tickets can you sell? And right, like you said earlier, ticket sales are a big part of, keeping the show running and doing everything. But
it's a necessity. It just is.
The way I look at it too is like,
no,
of course it is, but we have to do our part too, right? So if we're gonna tell a fighter, hey, come fight with us, sell as many tickets as you can. Not like you have to sell 100, but go out there, hustle them, sell what you can, and get your fans there. But you don't provide them a content day where they come get photos to promote themselves,
right?
Some interviews and all that. But you're just telling someone to go fucking sell tickets. I believe that's not fair. But we'll do our best at least to give you the promo and do those kind of. Why are you laughing?
Mejalee, you remember the first content day you came to? I could not pronounce his name. I kept calling Mejalee.
It took me 3 years.
I felt so stupid, like, because he rolled with a few people, and I'm like, Mejalee, like, it's Mejalee. It took me a minute to get it, bro.
Heck yeah.
After he became champ, you knew his name.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody I think it was Christina's fight, Chris, it's Ma and then Jolly. That's just remember Jolly. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Duh.
Yeah. Everybody butchers his name. I've been
was
skilled at 3
gracious
years.
about
I'd be
it.
like, Mejalee, just go fucking run up the hill, dude.
Exactly.
Whatever your name is, go.
Yeah, you're trying to run up the hill, dude.
That's also my grandma. My grandma always calls me like, "What's his name?" because she forgets my name. I'm like, she'll always say, "What's his name?" And then my dad gives her so much shit for it. It's the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah. Living with my mother-in-law is really fun. She's crazy.
But to piggyback on what you're just saying, it's important. Obviously that you guys are giving the fighters a platform to be able to do this, but I think it's also important for fighters to realize too. And I've had to realize this as just growing as a young man. Like, dude, there's not one person bigger than the program. There's not one person, but you're not bigger than your gym, dude. You're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger than. Sometimes I think, especially with like social media, and we've all been like, victims of this, but like with social media, we're looking at like, UFC, and we're looking at like a John Jones or Connor. And we're like, well, they're bigger than a program. That's a anomaly. That's a 0.00001% that can push that needle.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And not to say that we can't or that I can't be one of those guys right there. But they did. They did all the stepping stones that it took to get there. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're an amateur. You're 1 or 2 fights or 3 fights in, dude. UNF or this promotion is doing you a favor. This is a platform to be able to perform. All you got to do is show up and fight. Yeah. That's it. That's all they're really asking you to. You're not bigger than the program, bro. Come in here and fight just like everybody else. Everybody else had to do this. Everybody else had to make weight. You're not special, bro. I don't know why, especially in this like last year or two, it's been like in the fight game where like fighters feel like, you guys owe them, right? Where I don't have to show up on time. I don't have to do this. Or I'm gonna, I've heard things. Hey, I have this fight book and I just don't show up. Like, you think you're bigger than because you're undefeated, and I get it, dude. You're good, but you didn't show up for a fight. What kind of shit is that?
I always say, and I tell my team, and you run a business too. Like, everybody's replaceable,
right?
And you want to have that mentality. So you're fighting for your place. You want to be irreplaceable,
right?
You know what I mean? So you want to be the easiest guy to work with. Gets in there, performs. Popular, taking advantage of all the opportunities, then in that point, you're irreplaceable. Like, you are so important because you're fighting for your spot.
Right.
And your reputation, it's a cliche saying, but your reputation precedes you.
Yeah.
So Mejalee, I have long talks about this in my business. I'm big on reputation, right? So it's like, the projects I do, I design power to buildings, and, I treat even my smallest clients as important as I treat Amazon because, we don't know that one day we're not going to be sitting here 5 pro fights from now and I get a call from Chris and Chris says, hey, John, guess who I just got a call from? UFC called me. They're interested in Mejalee. Well, I want everybody around me as a coach and everyone around him to be like, those dudes are solid. They'll keep their word. They'll stand up. They'll stand by their word. And that starts with you guys. The last thing we want now is like, I don't want Chris on the phone because at the end of the day, I would expect you to tell the truth. And if the truth was like, hey, yeah, Mejalee's an amazing talent, but honestly, like, him and his coach are a pain in the ass to deal with. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for him, and I think that so many fighters is like, in business, you need to be easy to work with.
Yep.
Nobody wants to work with somebody that's a pain in the ass to work, whether it be the fight game, my business or your business. Nobody wants to work with somebody who's a pain in the ass. It's just the nature of humans, So I think in this, I'll give you a perfect example, and not to go to the UFC, but John Jones in the UFC right now. He's wanted to fight on the White House card, and Dana's flat out saying, you're the best ever. He's giving him his credit, and you're a pain in the ass to deal with. And he's kind of verbalized it. And it's like, can John Jones be a pain in the ass to deal with? Absolutely. He's John Jones. But what if you're John Jones and you weren't a pain in the ass to deal with?
Man,
it's like a whole nother
that's
level.
How he lost the Nike
maybe
deal,
that's the next level.
The Gatorade deal. Yeah,
maybe that's the next level.
Yeah.
Those are such wise words. I think too many people these days get locked into it's a me.
Yep.
Yeah, like
sort
I
of
hate when
thing
people
instead
say
of
like, I don't
big
give a fuck
picture.
what people think about me. Like
That drives me nuts.
If it's your fucking troll on Instagram, yeah, don't give a fuck about that. But you should want to be respected, right? You should want to be viewed as like hard worker, whatever that is you strive to be. But like some people just have that mentality like, oh, I'm just gonna like be disrespectful or this, that, and I don't give a fuck what people think. And that's just, I don't know, it drives me nuts when people say that.
No, you need to care. And I think you said something very important, like how do you want to be remembered?
Yeah.
You're right. It starts today. It starts now.
Starts at your amateur
You can't
career.
change people's first perceptions of you. So I think I've always sort of believed treat everybody with dignity, respect, and compassion. Treat the CEO like the janitor. Treat everybody amazing. Yeah, you may not always see eye to eye, and that's okay. But I mean, at the end of the day, you get more out of people if you invest in people.
Yep.
And you care about them, how they feel, and the experience. That's why even when we were starting up next, some folks that, we're getting some guidance from said, oh, well, we'll do this for the pros, but we'll do this. I hate the word amateur. We'll do this for the pros and this for the rising stars. We call amateurs rising stars. Right. And Ryan and I are like, are you fucking kidding us? There will not be two divides.
Discrepancy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, everybody's going to treat it equal because there was talk about, content day, we spend so much money, time, let's just do it for the pros, not the rising stars. And he and I stuck to like, no, that ain't going to happen. No. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're amateur. You don't need to be doing any of this for us, and that's lost. I know, I'm a striking coach. I don't know much, most of what I've learned about jiu-jitsu and MMA, I've learned from Mejalee. My scope of the martial arts game is very narrow, and that's why even in the striking community, I think it's been lost a lot. Where it's like you get guys that win 5-6 amateur fights, and they're like, oh, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. And it's, that's why I think I think that's why the MMA community maybe is growing faster in some ways, because they're exposed to a much more a broader experience of coaches in martial arts that are kind of elevating your thought process in that game. I just. Well,
I think Mejalee, you hit on too, like social media, it's like, it's a necessary evil. It's a bummer, right? Like people kind of look at the clicks and the views and, I think it inflates people's sort of egos sometimes instead of sticking to the basics.
It does.
Be real. Tell me how you felt about it. Remember when we talked the social media game
a couple
of years
the whole
ago?
social media thing. Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was tough for me because I just felt I was in this dynamic of like, well, why post this? I feel like I'm faking it, or I feel like, and then he just reminded me, he's like, dude, you're not faking it. People are interested in seeing these things. They want to see you train. They want to see what your day's like. Like, show that. You're just showing yourself. You're not showing. You're not being fake by showing this or show it, dude. Show it. Just be yourself. That's what he just kept saying. Just be yourself. You're good. But yeah, at first, especially with fighting and stuff, I'm like overthinking. I'm a big thinker, so I'm like, oh, well, are my opponents watching me? Or does this matter? Can I post this? Or how is this gonna look to this? Or whatever loophole I wanted to take myself down. But coach just reminded me, like, dude, you have to post. That's a part of the game. We like Conor, of course, because what he does in the cage, of course, but he's only in the cage for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes for a championship fight, right? It's everything that he does outside of those 25 minutes that people are interested in. It's the Netflix documentaries. People want to see his life. It's very interesting. So he's like, show yourself to people and you'll be surprised. People might start flocking towards you.
It sounds very cold, but at the end of the day, as a fighter, let's just, be pragmatic about it. You're a product.
Yeah.
Yep. Any product in this world needs to be marketed. It doesn't mean you're not still a human being, but you're product of the fight game. If you're just doing this casually, I would say, first of all, quit, because there's too much risk, right?
That's
why.
I agree with that too. I don't think you should be chasing this career casually or just because it's fun.
You're all in or you're all out.
Passion has to be involved, and fucking, wanting to be the best has to be involved. Otherwise, like, I think it's one of the hardest sports to really, really make it in, right? Like, I mean, you could kind of make it, start private training, some, kids classes, wherever it is. If you want to make it to the top level where you really change your life, you got to be all fucking in. Because number one, your health's involved, and it's also just a very small percentage that gets up there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's the hardest. I don't think it's one. I think it's the hardest. No, I think it's the hardest.
The problem too, and you guys may disagree, the better man doesn't always win in this sport either sometimes. Right? You can make one freaking mistake and somebody that doesn't have the skill level or whatever catches you right, and that could, I don't know.
Yeah, we have a saying for this, say the enemy gets a vote.
Yeah.
The enemy gets a vote.
Crazy because like most people have like 8 to 10 week camps or whatever that is, and You know, you probably go through little nicks and injuries. You know, fight day, you can fucking wake up with a cold. And no matter...
You should pull out.
No, you should never pull out.
If
No,
you
you should never pull out. We'll get to that in a
If you have a
second.
sniffle, John says pull
We should get to
out.
that in a second.
Hangnail,
people,
pull out, dude.
People fight with, you know, broken finger, whatever it is. And like, you just get those things in, you know, in training, all that. But it really comes down to that one night of how it goes down, how you perform.
Right.
You can have the best fucking training camp and fight week, you're sick. I mean, you still got to show up, right? And you got to fight, whether it's to make the money or whatever it may be. But it really all depends on that fucking one night, which I think is just what makes the sport so interesting. At the same time, it's like all the shit talk, all the lead up, all this stuff. And it comes down to 9 minutes, 15 minutes, or 25 minutes all one night.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Pro football games, what, 3-4 hours? You're doing all that same
And
training for
you got a
3-4
whole
hour
season.
little team.
You're really looked at as your last fight is like, that's all they really care about.
Yep.
At least that's how people say it. So it's really like your next fight is your biggest fight. Like everything you've been working towards is always that next fight is like everything's on the line. Football, you got fucking 18 games, I don't know, whatever it is.
Right.
Basketball, 82 game season.
Timeout.
Yeah, timeout.
Timeout. Hold on. I don't feel, timeout. Let's talk
Ryan
about
says
this.
it too. Like those are team sports. So if you're not on your game, your teammates could pick up your slack.
Right.
Not
Right.
in MMA.
Yeah. Joe
Not in
Rogan
fighting.
says
You got
it
John
well.
screaming
He's
at
like,
you, but that's all you can do
that's
from
it.
there. You know
That's
what I mean?
it.
Right? That's why the training, making the training so brutal, it prepares you for that. It prepares you for that mentally. You're running uphill in the snow with me screaming at you. And I'm very like, I'm not the encouraging coach. And I've, with him, believe it or not, as we've grown together, I've backed off a little bit as far as the brutality of negativity when I'm training him, because I feel like he's kind of earned that right now. I don't need to be as brutal to you now as I was, but like, as far as the level at which we work is the same, but I think that prepares you, and that just grinding you into the ground prepares you for the lights and all of the regalia of it that you experience. It shouldn't be, it's just, it can't always be a soft, air-conditioned, cozy environment. Tyson, so anyway, I remember sometimes I'd go run and he's like, it's fucking cold. I was all right, bro. I'd literally pull up my video. Here's Tyson, the Catskills of New York,
in the
running
snow.
Best in the world in the snow.
Yeah.
Like, do I feel bad for you? No. And great thing about Mejalee is like, fuck, he's right. Go run. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm not gonna quit. I came up here. You're not gonna make me quit.
You're not going to break me.
Nah, you're not going to.
Yeah. I'm sure that you guys had those sort of clashes or whatever, but I think that the dynamic but I think it's a good dynamic. But what I like, and I'm all about evolution, you started your relationship in one place and your relationship's evolving to a different place.
Yeah.
Based on the growth, the maturity, right?
Yep.
I
I
think
don't
that's
know how
awesome.
many fighters, their first coach, held pads for them. It's like, oh yeah, you're good. Okay, yeah, let me see your kick. Okay, cool. Yeah, your kick sucks. And that was our first conversation. I was looking at him like, nobody's ever told me my kick sucked, ever. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, okay, well, show me then. Like, what's up? Show me then. Or show me how it's not gonna suck it sucks today. It's not gonna suck in a month. So what's up? So show me. And then, all right. And then we just keep building from there. But I don't know how many people, I like that brutal honesty. I needed that. I need that. I think a lot of fighters need that. I think a lot of coaches are lying to their fighters and have this false sense of security around them that they're greater than they actually are.
It's honestly just everyone needs that, right? If you want to be the best version of yourself and the best of what you do, you need no nonsense people that tell you how it is and be real with you. And now that's up to you to how you're going to take it in and what you're going to do about it. You can be like, oh, fuck, he's talking shit about me. I don't want to be around him anymore.
Right.
Okay, so be a weak person and don't get better.
Exactly.
Or take it in and then you're going to be the best version of yourself.
No, look, I talk to a lot of coaches and I feel for some of these coaches. John, I think you're in a unique situation based on most. A lot of the coaches we deal with, need the memberships, need these guys to stay because it's a financial sort of situation. And they say, gosh, when the times get tough and I'm raw and real with these guys, it's like they want to quit. He's like, sometimes these guys just want a trophy for fucking showing up to practice.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's not a good coach can't, give trophies for fucking showing up. You give the fucking trophies when you fucking get your hand raised.
Yep, 100%. And I think especially in this game, because it's either get your hand raised or get hurt.
Yeah.
There's literally not a lot of middle ground. I said the thing I say to him, and we've talked about this, I don't know if I've ever brought it up to you, but right before my fighters step in the ring, I always give them a hug. And then I say the same thing in the ears of every fighter before they walk in. And I do it because I want it to have an impact. And I say, either you're going to embarrass them in front of their family or they're going to embarrass you in front of yours. So make your choice.
Ooh, and that shit ignites me. Yeah. Every
Because
time I hear
if you
that,
think
that
about
shit's
it, there's a
instilled down me.
special primal thing about getting pounded out in front of your friends and family. And I've experienced it. Luckily I was in Thailand. I didn't see it. I had to call home and be like, yeah, I got pounded out. You know what I mean? But I've experienced it. And it's one of the most humbling experiences of your life. And when you go through it, I would tell all my fighters in training, I don't care if you hate me. I don't really care if you come back. I don't care if you like me. I don't need your money. I care that you win because I want that for you, because that feeling of not winning is so brutally painful, you know, and it's one thing, you know, not as bad, I guess, if you lose a decision or what have you, but when you get torched in front of your family, dude, bro, honestly, you're like, bro, I got a micro penis. Like,
It's either you or him, right? You got to pretend that this guy is fucking going to take your entire world, that your family's not going to eat if this guy fucking beats you. You got to be fighting for something bigger than yourself, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's just how I
agree.
feel.
You know, funny, I love that. We're all going to joke right now. You know, the see red guys, right? Yeah, I say red, bro. I see red. You know, I'm not trained, but I see red. I always say when you go into that cage and it's a real fight, you need to see red. Yeah, I mean, you need to see red. Not from a standpoint of you get emotional, you stop thinking, but like when I was in there, I looked at it as like, dude, if this is the, you know, Roman legion times, right? Like you got to walk out, you know, like you're going to die. You know, Khabib and Conor was one of the greatest examples ever. You heard, I just watched the McGregor Forever podcast, and Conor and his coach were talking about it after, and I love this. And he said, you know, if the referee wasn't in there, I would have died. He would have died. Khabib would have choked him and he would have died. The only thing that saved you was the referee. If this was us on the street in the backyard, I would have just held onto your neck until you died.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so these guys go in there, and I think if you go in there with that mentality of like, at the end of the day, the ref's going to save me. You know, I don't think that I think that the fighters that are going to rise to the top levels may not be the most talented. I think they're going to be the strongest up here.
Yep.
You know, the strongest up here are going to prevail. Absolutely. You know?
Yeah. That's why I think you got to have a little savage in you when you get in there. I love that word. Like you got to.
It's a hard thing too, but so I totally agree. And then you have to also,
savage.
with feeling those emotions, like, you know, you have to really hurt this guy, right? And you got to be a fucking savage about it, with also knowing how to control the technique and not just going out there being a wild man. But you do have to have that fucking mindset of, you're not taking everything from me. I'm going to do anything I fucking can to take it from you. Just with also balancing, not letting the emotions get too high, or fucking, at least, you know, sticking to a game plan at the same time. I feel like there's so many factors, like with the mentality and the emotions and the fucking ups and, you know, the crowd screaming and all that shit. Like, that's why we respect all fucking guys that get in the cage so much. But to really be the top level, it's that fucking mentality of like, I'm going to kill you. I hate to say that word, but like, you have to feel that way, right? At least,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's
There's nothing like it when, you know, that cage locks and you're in your corner and then the referee looks at you and asks, "Are you ready?" And you're like, "Oh shit." Because you're actually thinking like, "Oh man,
am I ready?
Am I ready?
We're about to do this.
What? Yeah, you're like, this is crazy." And the only thing that I can rely on at that point, because of course I think I'm ready, but the only thing I can rely on is my training. It's like, dude, I know he didn't do this shit. I know he wasn't up at 6 a.m.
He didn't
doing
have
this.
John in his
There's
fucking
no
ear yelling
way.
and
There's
throwing
no way
things
he
at
threw
him.
1,000 kicks in a day. Just like there's no way he did this. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm as ready as I'm gonna get. But there's been a couple times they ask, "Are you ready? You fight? Are you ready?" And you look and you're like, "Oh shit, am I ready?
Well,
Did I do enough mental preparation, physical preparation?"
We had Gianni Vasquez on the podcast a little while ago, and he talked about this. He's like, where's that mindset come from, or like the confidence come from? Because every time he's in the cage, he has like this aura about him. You know, you could just tell he's ready to go. He's like, every time I think back or I get a little nervous, I think about all the fucking work I put in for fight night, and then it all goes away. I'm fucking ready. I put the work in. No one works harder than me. I've crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's. So you know what? Whatever happens in the fight does, but I know I put the work in.
Yep.
And that's where that confidence kind of comes from, to just be ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Romero said the same thing. He says, you don't think about the training for him. If he didn't do all the training to prepare for that, that's what he thinks about. You know, it'll get in his head if he didn't do this certain things. That's why now he makes sure he does everything he's supposed to be doing.
Yep. And don't come at it from a place of anger too. I think that's a big thing in the American mind. You know, I train with Thais a lot and spend a lot of time around Thais, and that's where I think that would be my critique of the American MMA game. I think so many of this, I love the shit talking. Like, I'm a big fan of the shit talking. You know, I've tried to push him to talk shit, but I think the shit talking, it needs to be narrow in scope. And what I mean by that is, if you want to talk shit about your opponent, keep it about the business at hand.
Yep.
Right. And I'm a big fan of that, because you can keep it about the business at hand, get in there and do this thing and get out and still be friends. Right. When you start to take it to a level that's, frankly, in my opinion, unprofessional, you're talking about his heritage, his race, his family, or his religion. I think that's the thing. You want to say the guy couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. Honestly, the 9-year-old girls I trained jiu-jitsu got a tighter rear naked choke. That's all good and fun, right? That's all good and fun. I think that's professional. But I think so many of Americans, you associate fighting and anger, and you're actually doing yourself a disservice in there, right? You know, go in there like a savage. Go in there and want to hurt him as absolutely as bad as I possibly can. So when I drive you to the hospital later, I can sit there and laugh and be like, bro, I told you I was going to give you like 37 stitches tonight, dude. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate you, but I told you I was going to give you the stitches, and you're all cool about it. And there's no animosity. It's just business. We both
That's what you guys signed up for.
That's what they signed up for, dude.
Yep.
So why do we naturally need to say it's just weak? Why do we naturally need to say, okay, I'm fighting, Mejalee's fighting whoever, therefore I must be angry at you? You're making this association. You don't have to.
Yep.
And it's really,
I think
it's so
people
weird
are different though, right? Because I feel like I would be the person to have to kind of get angry, or like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a nice person at heart. So like if I were to,
Ryan's a C-red guy. Watch out. No,
my person. But like the way I think I would have to like actually not like, or train myself to not like the person in front of me to really hurt them. I think some people have the switch where they don't have to like carry that hate for someone, but they could do it. You know, like we used to train people, and you know, he's also very big like psychologically and stuff. And like we had a guy we were kind of training, and he couldn't flip that switch. So he was like, stop fucking touching gloves with the guy before the fight. Just lock the fucking, this guy's trying to take everything. Some people could touch a glove and then want to kill a guy.
Yeah.
If someone's like, touch a glove, oh, it's competition now. Like we're friends. You know what I mean? So I think it's like I don't know. I think it really depends on the fighter too, though, you know?
Me and him, I look at it as a contest of pain. When me and him, and we'll take the shin pads off and we'll go shin to shin. You know what I mean? And again, me and Mejalee will get in there and fight it out, me and him. And I've
Fucking
never
love it.
once felt anger at him as hard as he's hit me and as hard as I've hit him. There's never been a thing like, what the F, coach, or like where it's got to that level.
Yeah.
We're more like, you know, I'll teep him right in the chest. He'll kick me right in the shin. I'm like, dude, I won't let him show. I'm like, that's all you got, bro? Really? Like, I'll rub my shin like my little sister. And there's that friendly, like, dude, that shit hurts. I hurt him, but it's a contest of like, who can absorb more, you know, damage, and who can take it mentally and emotionally versus like, coach, we're going hard, just not that hard. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah. What do you think about that? Like,
no, I actually love that. As you know, like when we spar stuff like that, somebody catches me with a great fucking shot and lights it up, I'm like, yeah, that was fucking great. Because I think you're focused on, yes, I want to kill you, yes, but you know, you're gladiators. You know what I mean? You're going back and forth.
Yeah.
So from the training perspective, I love when I would get lit up a little bit because it showed the evolution and his progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I loved it. Sucked, it hurt, but
I'm getting lit up more and more now.
Yeah.
That's the problem is I'm sparring with him. I'm getting lit up more than I ever have now. I'm like, okay, well, we're doing something right.
But you should be so proud of that because, you know, you've taught him so well that he's evolved to that level now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So to me, a real teacher and a real coach, it's truly a sign of success when their student reaches that level.
I could not agree more.
You know?
Yep. We talked about that. I was like, dude, the biggest testament to me as a coach is if one day, you know, I'm older and I said, but you can just beat my ass.
Better than you.
And now he's
That's
reaching
right.
a point where like, you know, I told him for years, like his teep, I'd bust his balls. I'm like, that thing sucks. Even up till like, I wasn't even happy with it till like a year ago. You know, teep the front kick. Literally, I kept like, it was the last thing we were working on where I just wasn't happy with it. And now it's to the point where it's like, it's, you know, it's, when you feel like your student at will can really fucking wreck you and beat your ass is like, it's a very good thing. Cause as a coach, you've taken all of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Now you've taken whatever you've learned yourself by doing this. And now you've risen. Like the biggest honor as a coach is when your students are better than you. So many of these coaches, like they want to be like, oh, I'm the greatest. You can never do anything better than me. And you know, maybe if you're the John Jones of the world, maybe there's that unicorn situation, but for the most part, your students should be elevating above you and adapting your ways to new methodology. And I see him do it, you know, with shit. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe he caught me with that dumb bullshit. I hate on his stupid spinning shit for years. And then I get caught with his stupid spinning shit.
Yeah. You know, it's funny in my normal business, I always, you know, I tell these guys, you don't want to be in my shadow. Like I own the company and, you know, I know, you know, most of our content stuff like that. I go, you really want it to be where people know your name and they're talking about you, you know, because you do such great work that I'm completely irrelevant. I said, that's a true sign of success. And to me, I get a kick out of that. I love to see my team members and, you know, excel further than what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
You did your job.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? If I really care about them and I care about their progression, it's truly about them. But guess what? Selfishly, I've accomplished something too. So it's fulfilling for me because I was a part of their journey.
Right? I think every day when I talk to Ryan, how much better he's doing than you.
No, listen, it's fucking, no, Brett, it's so fucking true. Like, and I tell him all the time, he's taught me so much in this business. Cause before I used to get all wound up on certain things. He's like, Dad, why are you wasting your time? This is the fight game. This is this, this is why, this is this. And I'm proud of myself in one regard. I'm 57 years old. I'm an old fuck, but I listen to him. I'm like, oh, you're fucking right. You
That's
got
what
this
it's
right.
about.
Hey, sir, you were right. I was wrong. So I have that willingness to kind of learn. I don't have an ego in that regard. You know what I mean?
You're coming at him from the wisdom perspective, and he's coming at you from like, Dad, I'm younger. I'm more in touch with what's going on.
110%.
That's a good relationship.
He's more in
for you.
tune with the athletes. He understands the dynamics. I've really come at this, and he's more of a MMA aficionado, whereas I'm a fan, and a fan of this sport, and I'm a business guy, like how to build the business properly. So together, meshing and me listening to him listening to me, coming together is, I think, why
Almost as
we've
good
done
of a
well.
duo as John and Mejalee.
Almost, we're
That's
close.
what it
Close
is.
second.
Yeah.
Well, I want to switch topics up for just one second. I just want you to give us pretend you're a promoter right now, right? Someone shows up to weigh-ins 10 pounds overweight and they pull out of their fight. Can you give a message to that fighter right now?
Okay, give me the.
Because you did it on Instagram a while ago. It was fucking
Oh, bro,
amazing.
you on Instagram? I love it.
No,
I watch every
they
story.
Love me or they love me or they hate me. No. Majalee's like, don't tag me in that shit, coach.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like,
He's a
coach,
part of it.
but he's being himself. So I'm like, dude,
He's like, don't tag me. He's like, you say what you want, coach. Don't tag me. So,
But you know what? Everyone respected, like, you had so many comments on that shit, so many likes, and I think not everyone will get on fucking social media and say that shit, and people need to hear it.
a couple things to this topic. I think, and let's just say what everybody's thinking. I think if a week before your fight you have an injury big enough you need to pull out, you're either a pussy or you're stupid. Meaning, and most likely, I would say it's more likely you're just pussy. So many people are like, I want to take a fight. Then you start to get closer. You get in regalia. You see your opponent posting stuff, and then like conveniently a week out. The last week we're chilling, dude. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't be doing anything physically.
You
on
should
your
have
body
a
that's
broken femur, dude, if you're pulling out. You know what I mean? Yeah, straight up a broken femur. Or if you're overweight, we've had some, weight issues. Me and Mejalee had a couple issues on some of his fights with weight. And I think, one, learn from it, but two, show up, give your opponent an opportunity to still fight you, maybe come to agreement as a catch weight, be upfront and honest early on. But I think if it's a consistent theme, I'll be upfront. If I was up next, I wouldn't welcome you back, straight up. I mean, if you guys are putting up umpteen dollars to make this thing happen, guys, we're going to mess up. If bro, this is your third one, your fourth one, your fifth one, and you haven't made weight, like that's a problem. Or you've consistently pulled out, a month out, dude, look at it, and you're saying his foot's turned the other way. Okay, I get it. But like, my leg hurts. Come on, dude. You're just pussy. You just don't want to admit you're pussy, and you're just pulling out for that reason. It's a big freaking deal.
and it's not fair to the fighters too. It's definitely not fair to the promotions. But dude, you guys don't know what it's like to be training your mindset on one person, and then they pull out for a plethora of reasons. Like I've had people pull out and they've been injured, and I mean it is what it is. Injuries happen. But yeah, pulling out 3 or 4 days before the fight, you got to realize you're also robbing me of that opportunity. I'm not going to be able to find a fight in 3 days or 4 days. You know how hard you're putting us all in a scrambling position because your finger hurts or something. It fucks with the fighters too. It sucks.
So we annoy the fuck out of fighters, right? Because we do medicals and licensing. We're trying to get everybody cleared medically at least 2 weeks out before the event. Yeah. People complain, oh, I don't want to get my medicals this year. I don't want to do this. We look at it as like we're protecting the fighters because we don't want to wait for you to get your medicals fucking fight week, you not get cleared, and then your opponent.
Wednesday of fight week, we fucking figure it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So for us, we're trying to do things to make sure we eliminate that kind of shit. We will even touch base with fighters. Okay, if we have somebody that had a history, are you on weight? How we looking? We really do our best to make sure because it's not fair to that other athlete.
It's good logistics on your part. It's called logistics. The logistics of running the promotion. John, that's good logistics.
Can I tell you something? That he's helped doing licensing and matching for some huge boxing promotions recently. We were helping behind the scenes, and we have our shit together better than a lot of these bigger organizations, to be honest. Yep. And he's just like, oh my gosh, Dad, like the way he keeps a spreadsheet, getting medicals cleared. But we feel we owe that to the athletes, right? Because a guy can't be trained, then a guy not get cleared fucking medically. Again, if he's traveling in from out of state and
man,
that's
you also
a choice.
don't know everyone's situation. Like for you, right? Like, you want to make MMA a career for yourself, but you're also in law school doing all these other things. So when you decide to take that fight and take those 8 weeks, you're also, taken away from law school or whatever else you got going on or some other people, right? Like, and for amateurs, you guys aren't getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? So to make an opponent think they're fighting for 8 weeks to chase their dream and do something that you pull out for some stupid shit, it's just disrespectful on so many different levels.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is the big secret in the room, and I'll be the one to say it, and the elephant is,
go for it, John.
A lot of these guys are pulling out just because they're scared, which is fine. But my point is if you're scared to do this, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Like there's not a casual MMA game. You can go down to your local gym, any gym, whatever it be, my gym, anybody's MMA gym. And if you want to get good sparring work, there's plenty of coaches, I assure you, that will put the gloves on.
Or do those PKB sparrings that you're a big fan of.
PKB sparrings, but you can go down to your local gym. I guarantee me, when my people are like, go hard with me, coach, I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm excited, right? But there's plenty of coaches, all these coaches out there, a lot of them are really good. They'll go hard with you. Why do you need to waste up next time, to Mejalee's point, waste your opponent's time to go and get a week out from the fight and claim your leg hurts? It's just nonsense. Like a week out, a week and a half out, 2 weeks out, like, I don't know if I told the story. I had one student, I won't mention his name because it's important. He tried to pull out from a fight. I just said, don't ever call me again. I've never talked to him since. I said, don't ever call me again because I don't need your money. I just beat it, dude. I don't want.
May I ask, what was the reason he wanted to pull out? Or like, was it not reasonable? Well, for your expectations, probably not.
Let's just call it. It was the very, one, his vagina was cramping. No disrespectful, ladies. But essentially, it was I have a lot going on with this.
Okay, so something signed up for
blah, blah, bullshit. Yeah, it's blah, blah, blah. I'll give you a for example. When Mejalee fought Cameron, right? We had, George Francis, fighters rep. We're a big fan of George's. We are with you guys.
Yep.
We had that fight. We had George's fight and we took your fight. And growing as a team, we kind of double booked fights in a way. Not double booked, but we booked them closer than both promotions have expressed to us. You guys would prefer we don't. And George was right. You guys were right. And we said, look, Mejalee broke his hand in that fight with Cameron, right? We didn't tell anybody. We did. We did in that fighters rep the next thing. We wrapped his fucking hand and we went and fought. Broken hand or not, he's like, hey, I got 2 legs, 2 knees and we're going to figure it out. And that's how you should do it. Your hand's broken, your eye, again, short of a broken femur, especially at the amateur game, you need to get in their fight. Now, let's say we're in the UFC and there's millions of dollars at stake and there's your legacy. One, you're going to have a team around you that's not going to get you hurt a week out. But if you do get hurt, that's a different conversation. Maybe as an amateur, what you need to start learning to do is persevering and having a broken pinky nail and still going and fighting.
And there's a big difference between being hurt and being injured.
Right,
Because
exactly.
we love to say that we're injured, right?
Yeah.
But you're just hurting, bro. And it's okay. We're all a little hurt in camp.
I don't think any
normal.
of you guys, if
Good
anyone
point.
really prepares properly, you're going to have some type of little nick or little hurt injury. You're hurting a little bit, but if you're not putting in a good 8-week camp in, then you're probably, you should have some type of little injury, right? Obviously not a fucking broken foot, broken hand. Hopefully not. I know you did that once, but you're going to have some type of pain. You got to fight through that shit. At least when I talk to all the athletes, everyone has something going on.
Yeah.
Now it's a mindset you're going to have when you go in there. You're going to let it fucking kind of be a bitch about it. You just going to go in there and fucking fight like you signed up for.
Yeah. And everybody wants to be politically correct nowadays and be like, well, you don't want to just say what we're all thinking, dude. There's a lot of guys that take fights, that get a week out from the fight and you get cold feet.
Yep.
All right. And the champions and the guys that will make it push through and the ones who shouldn't be doing this in the first place lock up and they just pull out.
Yeah. And that's where promotions, us included, need to do a better job weeding those guys out.
Short of, a broken leg, there's not a lot of reason I can think of you should pull out for a fight. I've told him flat out before and all my students, I said, if we're driving to the fight and grandma dies, we're fighting. We're going to go get the win for grandma. She's dead anyway. No problem. Okay. We're going to get the win for grandma. We'll drop flowers. We're going to drop the belt on grandma's grave on the way home. No problem.
Yeah.
She's dead anyway. No disrespect. I love my grandma, but that's what we're going to do because one, for your opponent's standpoint, but two, it doesn't change your commitment. It doesn't, it's just.
I think Danny Labastida on one of his fights had lost his dad like a week or
before,
2 weeks
or two
before his fight. He kept it super quiet and still fought.
Yeah.
Like,
Shout out to him,
that's an
man.
animal right there.
He trains
totally.
He's a pugilist too, right?
Yeah.
That's an animal right
that's
there.
nuts for him to be able to do that. He's a tough dude for that.
Did he get the win?
I think he
No, he
lost.
didn't. He fought a beast in Israel Salazar that fight. But
Yeah.
And still took it though. That's what I'm saying. It
Yeah,
still
he showed
took it
up.
with everything going on. Still took the
But I
fight.
also
felt like
feel
he-
like, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, he's the type of person. He felt like he owed it to probably his opponent, the promotion. He signed on a dotted line, and no matter what, he was gonna show up. Again, I feel like that's. I disagree. I feel like that's a valid excuse to pull out of a fight.
Man,
potentially,
it's
right?
very- it's very
something
valid.
like that. Like I totally understand. Like I don't know if I could. I know, God forbid, something like that happened. He would, from the grave, want me to go fucking handle business I signed up for,
Right.
and go get it done for him, right? But that's like a valid reason to maybe not fire, to pull out. You're just
100%.
not there, and I would understand that. But there's certain people that are just fucking. They have the mindset of wanting to be a winner and doing those things.
It's a
and
very
that's
valid reason. I'm being very harsh in my perspective there.
No,
But
I get where you're
But I
coming
love
from.
it. I love your
It is
harsh
very-
perspective.
I think the biggest lack of a reason we're wrapping up the pullout conversation is cowardice. Gandhi has a very famous saying. It says, if you were to choose between violence or cowardice, I would advise violence. When you're pulling out just because you get cold feet, you're choosing to not fight over cowardice.
Yeah.
Choose
The
violence.
full
dude.
feet, I totally get where you're fucking coming from.
Yeah, totally get where you're
1000%.
from. But like,
Yeah.
if you're just mentally not in a space, I could understand. it's not what I would want for myself or my fighters, but I don't think that you're, less than if that's not what you're mentally able to do.
But I also feel at this level, the Rising Stars level, right? This is a time to go through this adversity. Exactly. To test yourself, to go through thick or thin. Because once you make it to that pro level, your record matters, right? At that point. And hopefully then at the higher levels, you've already experienced all this bullshit.
And what's crazy about that too, with Danny, is like having to do a fight camp. Your dad passed away 2 weeks before your fight. And you did it. You went out there and you did it. You went through it. What else is gonna fucking pop up that you can't deal with in the fight camp? And
there you
so
go.
fight night. Yeah.
You face the biggest, one of the biggest, short of yourself dying, you face an amazing adversity. You know? Not changing the subject here, but I've been dying out to corner you guys on the podcast here. What's Up Next doing? And give us the inside scoop on 2026 Up Next overall. Give us the high level. Tell what do you guys came here to give me the juicy details. What Up Next has.
I think after earlier today, we're definitely going to be getting out of Southern California this year for sure.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, I think we have to, right? Like, I think part of why we did Lancaster, but we did Riverside, but we need to expand a little bit. But we want to make sure that we can produce the same level of show somewhere else as we could here in LA, both from a production standpoint and an athlete perspective. So we building some relationships. So we think we're going to be doing something like that in the next several months. We've been doing some boxing stuff. We're doing a boxing show February 14th at the Burbank Marriott. Working on some small gloves Muay Thai, getting that potentially approved. Getting that approved.
Maybe we'll get him out of retirement.
Coming out of retirement, dude. I'm coming out of retirement.
Yeah, so that's something that we want to be doing because, again, for us, we know we've got to be more active. We look at MMA as our crown jewel. Boxing, is an element of the Up Next brand now. We want to do the kickboxing stuff. So we want to kind of expand, the opportunities for the athletes. We want to make it to where we could keep everybody busy, whether that's boxing, kickboxing, MMA, maybe some combat jiu-jitsu, whatever. We want to be everybody's home promotion. We don't want people really fighting with other promotions if they don't have to.
And to your point, though, your infrastructure is in place. I mean, we're sitting in the infrastructure. Your infrastructure.
No one has infrastructure like us.
Yeah, no one has infrastructure like you. It's built. I know Mejalee. Not to speak, I think you'd be totally down for the Muay Thai.
I would love.
I feel like that was like one of the names that popped in my head. Would love to do it.
Chomping at the
I know
bit
you would
for
make
that.
him do it too. If not, because that's
love
something
that,
up your alley.
dude. I would love that to be under the Up Next banner and do some other things, man. Some kickboxing, small gloves, Muay Thai. Heck yeah.
We want to do kind of some super fights too, in a way, right? Like we want to do, and it just hasn't lined up with some other promotions like out of state, bringing their champions in, sending our champs back, our top prospects, whatever. Just because we feel it's good for the athletes to get the exposure of traveling, right? And it's also kind of hyping things up. We want to expand the Up Next audience too, right? Yeah. We're very strong in California, especially, but we want to build the brand elsewhere because it's kind of like, some folks within the industry we've talked to, it's important to build the athletes on a regional level, make them superstars regionally. Then you've got to get to the state and then nationally, right? And then internationally. So that's sort of that piece that we've got to start working on. You know what I mean?
I think capitalizing on the striking market too, which is, not to knock the promoters, but it's soft. They're not well run. They're not well done. They're the thing. I think you guys taking Muay Thai and, don't do that. Nobody cares about that kickboxing nonsense, but Muay Thai, right? Kickboxing guy's going to hate me now. But I think you guys taking that under your umbrella, I think you'd corner the market. I think it's a huge opportunity. And, I know our team and everybody I know would be like, yeah, absolutely.
We just want to be able to do it right, John, because again, I think you and I are similar in a lot of ways, to be honest with you. I've always bonded with you. I don't want to be in second place.
Nope.
Right. So if we're going to do something, we want to be proud of the product we produce. Some people have said, oh, let's just do a smaller show or not put, resource. No, if, Up Next is a brand and athletes have come to expect a certain level of quality and service from us. We can't let them down. You know what I mean? 100%. So that's been what slowed us down a little bit. I think that the interest is there, but we want to make sure we could deliver the final product. It's kind of like 100%. In-N-Out, right? Why In-N-Out has expanded so slowly, right? Like they want to make sure the quality of their product was always the same at every restaurant you went to.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing for us.
Quality of Up Next show. I mean, we've fired you guys 3-4 times and in my opinion, everyone got better than the next one.
Definitely.
I was like, dang, that shit was good. And the next one.
Bro, we work so hard. We have to make sure what can we do different? We actually have a fucking really cool idea for our January 31st show where we're going to be doing it won't be a live interview desk, but the Fight Family podcast will be set up at the event. Ryan will be running with a few other Jason Jones, I think, will be there.
Hey.
Yeah, and a couple other people. But to where we're bringing in coaches, right, to interview them prior to their athletes facing it, like 2 opposing coaches to talk about the fight before the fight, then bring them back on after the fight to get their review of it. And then bring in athletes that, had just fought or athletes that may have just fought each other.
Pre and post fight interviews.
100%.
Interesting.
And one idea I had, because I mean, we can talk about this right now a little bit too, is, our plan, we talked briefly about this, is really Majalee's fight in March, hopefully. There's a 155 title fight on the upcoming card, Rostin Reddick versus Diego Sanchez. I would love for Mejalee to fight the winner of that if everything lines up. So what I was thinking, while their fight's going, having you 2 on that talking thing, we could watch the fight in real time, and you guys kind of give your, watch the fight, just we talk about the fight a little bit.
I think I'd love to. I'm going to let Mejalee do most of the talking. If it's on its feet, I'll talk. But when it goes to the ground, I'm going to quietly.
Yeah, well,
but on the feet, I'm all in.
Well, really, it's also too like not about commentating that particular fight. It's really because it's not going to be aired live. We're going to air it on YouTube a week later.
Oh, do it after. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool.
That's
But it's really to get the fans so they get to know you and feel you. Your personalities, get them engaged, and then obviously, if that's a fight you would want, that promotes the shit out of the fight. Then we have all that content.
I think it's just great. Like, next title challenger and his coach are saying they're watching the fight or who they're going to fight next.
Yep.
And not that you guys have to talk shit or whatever, but just your honest thoughts of watching the fight then and there. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna keep it professional. I'm way more handsome than his coach, honestly.
I don't know, bro. Well, Diego's coach, Marco's a pretty good looking guy, man. I don't know. You guys are pretty close.
Coach respect, I gotta give him. I know you're a good coach, but I'm more handsome. Where's your heads at for March, Mejalee? Now they bring it up. What do you think?
I would love that in March. I think Diego versus Rostin. That's gonna be a freaking banger, dude.
Who you got?
I'm excited.
Not to put you on the spot. Who you got? If you want to say, but I would love for you to say.
That one's tough. I honestly, I have no clue. I would be ready for either one of those guys. I know Diego's probably a little better on the ground, but Rostin can throw. I know he can throw some hands too. So I'm just excited. That's what Up Next has done. You know what I mean? You guys have done such a good job at it. Like, I'm still a fan of fighting. Like, some of these amateur fights, there's dudes with less fights than me that I'm like, you guys post them, I follow them. Because I'm like, dude, that was a crazy ass knockout. That was amazing. So I'm still a fan of fighting. So, not that I'm like fangirling over these 2 guys, but that fight for those 9 minutes, I'm definitely a competitor, but I'm a fan, dude. I want to watch them fight. I think it's gonna be a good ass fight.
For your first fight back, is that something you would want? Is go straight for the title, or would you want to like do something else? What are some of your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. I want to get right back in title contention. I think those dudes are 2 dudes that are super serious, and I want to fight somebody that's serious. I know they'd both give me a hell of a fight, so no, I want to get right back into title contention. 155. Let's do it.
I love it too because there's a great storyline, right? You're our champ, and you never lost the belt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And the champ returns. Like, it's kind of cool. New weight class. It's awesome when there's storylines behind fights also. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great storyline.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it'll be, I think it gives him Mejalee, I've come to learn he likes the challenge. So I think going down to 155, and then assuming he wants it, a title fight at 155 coming in, I think those guys, it's a great matchup because whoever wins that fight, I don't know a lot about those guys, but they're going to have experience at 155 fighting someone who frankly is going to be untested at 155, but is tested at 170. So from the storyline perspective, I think it
has Diego ever fought at 55?
No, it's his first time at 55 too. I think he fought 165 his last fight.
Yeah.
But I just love the part of like, you were our champ, you had 2 dominant performances, and then, you never lost the belt. So coming back, call it new and improved, going down a weight class.
Yeah.
And then, you're going to fight, one of the 2 better guys at the 155 weight class who's going to be champ, come January. So I think the storyline is fucking great, to be honest.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, back in better. We'll be,
and
ready
I feel like
for
at this point too, even though you've been out of the game for a little bit as far as MMA goes, like, those are the kind of guys you got to fight right now. There's not really many other options that will fight you.
Honest with you.
His dirty little secret is, I think Mejalee is, his freaking work ethic and what he does as far as like, he's talked to me. He's like, Coach, it'd be weird. We'll have his conversations. He's like, I'm not training enough. I'm like, well, what was your week like? Were you chilling at home? Because me, I don't do a ton of Muay Thai sessions. We do maybe 2 a week right now, consistently for years. Every week's 2 a week. And then during fight camp, we'll do 4 or 5 a week, right? They're brutal. They're 2-3 hour sessions. So I want to give him plenty of rest, but I'll talk to him. I'm like, I haven't really done much this week. I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, I went to 19 jiu-jitsu classes. I ran 32 miles. I lifted 5 days. I only slept 2 hours. I did all my homework. I was up till midnight. I went to MMA class and then I did 2 wrestling classes. Like, honestly, I haven't done shit, coach. I'm like, bro, I'm like, this guy's like training like an animal. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've come to really learn Mejalee, like even out these like time, we're never like almost not out of camp. We're maybe not be, you know, super disciplined on the diet or whatever.
A little
but
more
like,
dialed in, but like the work is being put in.
His work ethic is like, he's, this hasn't been 2 years of not fighting. This has been, or like a year, you still fought about a year ago, but it's been a year of like improvement and work. You know, he works his butt off at this, you know. You did Subversive, I think too.
I've done a couple jiu-jitsu tournaments. A couple of striking here and there. Haven't really dabbled in MMA too much just because of schedules and the way that it lines up. But yeah, I like to stay active.
That doesn't concern me at all, though, with Mejalee. Like, not have been in the MMA cage for a minute.
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
No, like, I just know who you are, the training that you put in. So that's why, like, when Ryan talked about title shot right off the bat, like, to me, it's a no fucking brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no brainer, in my opinion.
And, you know, just recently, even with the camp switch, so I'm not with, Super MMA anymore. I'm with Cage Combat Academy up in the High Desert in Victorville. So Coach Alex, him being able to, being a UFC veteran himself, and then having Dylan and Mike in there, both, camo state holders. I actually put myself in a situation where I'm not the best guy in the room anymore, and I love it. And I've grown so much just by being there because I'm nowhere near the best guy in the room.
Dylan and
I
Michael are both top-notch dudes.
They're dogs. They're dogs. Mike's 130 pounds, dude. He shouldn't be able to take me down. That dude he's
a fucking pit bull, bro. He's really good.
Dylan's super technical, and just being able to work with, Coach Alex, somebody that's at the UFC level, is just, on a daily basis, is a blessing,
Yeah, there's some rumblings. I don't hold me to this, but I think we're trying to get Dylan on the March card. I think there was some talk about that. Yeah. George, our pro matchmaker, was talking about.
He's supposed to fight with us a while ago, but some shit happened. Yeah.
Life and stuff. But yeah, those
top talent.
Just being able to be there. I feel like I've grown so much. So I love it. I can't wait to come back. New weight class. I absolutely can't wait to step in that cage.
I think what you said too is important, man. You don't want to be the best guy in the room, right? You gotta learn. You gotta grow. You gotta evolve. I mean, that's Yeah. I mean, I think that's hugely important to success, where that's, in MMA or even business, man. You've got to be evolving. You got to keep learning and growing.
Yeah. I think even watching his jiu-jitsu game, and, I don't know much about what
makes you want to throw up, huh?
You know what's crazy, Ryan? I love that you say that. It does. It makes me want to throw up less.
Oh, okay. So that's good.
I've come to understand it more, and just being around him and watching it. And I go in there and dabble a little bit with them and mess around on it. But
Coach is 5 for 5 against blue belts. He's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
I got 5 submissions.
He's got 5 submissions.
I got 5
He's only
submissions.
rolled 5 times.
Yeah, I've rolled 5
blue
times
belts.
and I submitted all 5 blue belts.
No shit.
Like, was we making a joke or what he was getting
No,
with?
dude, I got leg.
Just random shit and armbar, random shit.
Oh, so you trained jiu-jitsu a lot?
No.
How the fuck do you have leg locks without
I just
training
figured it out.
jiu-jitsu?
He says it just makes sense. Yeah,
just
no,
makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, I'm like,
Like legitimate blue belts have been training. Somehow I don't know how he ends up on the back and he fucking squeezes their head off and they tap. And even they're surprised, like, what the?
He just gangster like
I just show up and
different systems. Gi guys. There's a couple of no gi. There's a couple of 10th Planet guys that he tapped.
Yeah.
So
I just I'm doing like because I think I'm the Muay Thai coach. So it's like when they get down there, I'm like, I'll roll with you, cool, you know what I mean? And then I can just feel them like taking off on me kind of, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like my I guess call it ego. My ego is not gonna let you submit me.
You are not getting me.
And then I go with him, dude, and he's hit stuff. We roll together. I'm like, roll with me and Jolly is buddy, roll with me, and I'm all, dude, like. Give me, I can tell he's being nice to me. He's letting me work. Let's just be real, right? But I'm fighting it out with him. And then I end up in some shit. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Bro, what do you hit me with, a twister?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in a twister, right?
Are you getting revenge on him sometimes?
Yeah, of course.
Bro, he hits me in a twister and it's like one arm, dude. And I'm like in a twister.
Yeah,
like he's got me in this, I don't know, all that jujitsu guys will know what a twister is, but he hits me in a twister. I'm like over here, right? And he's like talking to the guy next to him on the mat. He's like, hey, bro, like move your arm. And I'm like, he's like on my back. I'm in a twister, just getting torched, but it's just, I've come to respect it a lot. And I think learning myself, what my frustration has been with the jiu-jitsu game, and this is kind of educating myself, is when people think jiu-jitsu is the answer to all things.
Yeah.
And they think, and I get really frustrated when they say, I do jiu-jitsu, therefore I'm a fighter. I'm like, you're not a fighter, dude. It's not a wrestling fight. It's a wrestling match. It's not a jiu-jitsu fight. It's a jiu-jitsu match. But in the end of the day, you would torch me at a jiu-jitsu match. But when there's no danger of getting punched in the face, I'm sorry, it's not a fight. So just call it what it is. Call it, and as long as you do that, and these guys that are just sick with jiu-jitsu now, I respect the hell out of it. Cause like, I mean, I've rolled with a couple of the 10th Planet girls from time to time, and I just have to use sheer brute man strength,
for sure.
which is no technique, and maybe I get him in a bad position. But you can just, I can just tell that I'm like, there's a lot of skill here and a lot of really slick moves that I don't quite really. My brain isn't on the level to understand what's happening.
Well, yeah, because you haven't trained
I've
or
never
learned
done
it.
it.
But I
you
get
know?
what you're saying. Like, so I believe like jiu-jitsu is very important to have if you're an MMA fighter, 1000%. But why do you see fucking blue belts and white belts beating black belts in MMA fights
all the time.
right? Once you punch someone that's a black belt in the face, they turn to a blue belt is what they say. Or you date
100%.
someone once or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is important to make sure they're all, you have all the skills at a high level, right? You're striking, wrestling, and then some type of jiu-jitsu, grappling, and
Well,
submission.
that's what I think makes MMA such a tough sport, right? You have to be well-rounded in all of these
Especially,
disciplines.
when you get to the
you
highest
can't just be
level.
one-dimensional
highest
back in the old days of the Gracies. You know what I mean?
where it's
Cannot be like that.
especially when you're talking, the pro level of MMA and people are throwing elbows at your face.
Yeah, when you have them in guard and they're just pounding elbows. Yeah.
If I'm
That's a
ever,
different
if
story.
I were an MMA fight and my jujitsu is obviously terrible, unless I got 5 submissions, but like, I'm not going to try to
Got 5
jujitsu with you. I'm going to just try to throw elbows at your face until you're probably going to get me in an arm bar, and the jiu-jitsu guys will just arm bar you, which they probably will. But it's a different. So like the jiu-jitsu guys that recognize like, hey, I do jiu-jitsu, but I recognize it's not a fight, but you're really good at jiu-jitsu. I respect it all day because you know what? It's a crazy ass gnarly skill. But let's be honest and have an honest conversation. It's not a fight. It just isn't, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm going to get hated on so much in this podcast.
I know. Well, you get hated on.
No, it's okay. I mean, look.
No, go ahead. I'm
you
going to
got
pour up. Are you good with this? Since you're a whiskey guy, so we got you 2 bottles as a gift. Just want you to
As
know.
a gift?
Yeah, as a gift. This is for you. That was for
Oh my God,
Mejalee.
Majali's driving, dude. Let's go. Yeah.
Mejalee, we got you a gift. We got you a bottle of
Oh
tequila.
my goodness.
Hey, give me
for
that.
you.
He doesn't get that. Give me that.
No, you got 2. John, you got 2 right
Heck
here, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm
But one
talking
thing we
about.
want
Some
to try
Casamigos.
with you, John, is if you could take a shot of each and then see
you
which
have
one
to
is
tell
which.
us which one is which.
Well, I'm gonna sip it with you. Okay, you
problem.
pour it out. You want me to look away? You guys
Yeah,
pour
you
it
got
out?
to look away
hold on.
right now.
It's got to take us.
Yeah,
a
why
sip
is this taking so long to open? Is it
Heck yeah.
I like.
the fuck? I'm also having trouble. Is this a?
Dang, we feel like I got the red carpet treatment right over here.
Oh, there we go.
Listen, you got us lunch last time, so we had to return the favor.
All right.
All right, you got the close
No,
your
I'm
eyes.
going to pour a
I'll
little
look
in
away.
one and one another. He's got to pick which one's the
looking away.
Macallan.
Podcast guy, verify me. I don't want to be accused of cheating here.
Switch us around, maybe mess around with us a little bit.
All
We
right,
gotta
John.
remember which one's which. Oh, I know which one's which. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, John. You ready? Which one is the Macallan?
Let's see.
That's the McKellen.
He's wrong, right?
You're
No,
wrong.
you're wrong. You're wrong. It's a darker one. It's a little bit
This
of
is
a
very good because I've never drank this before.
That Glenfiddich is good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
legit.
well,
Yeah,
we
that's
said
legit.
we got to get something comparable to Macallan. We knew you liked Macallan.
So he's not a real whiskey guy like he says he is. That's the what we got from this.
Yep. I just got submitted right now. First round. Just got submitted in the whiskey game.
Well, these are
Dude,
for you, brother.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. Guys
You
for
got
that.
it.
That's so awesome. Adding these to the collection. Oh, dude, you guys are killer. You having some? Get in there.
Oh, okay.
Having a little sip here.
Which one should I have?
I'll
let you
go with
form.
this
I'll
one.
have the tiniest of tiniest sips because I do have to drive right after this.
Yeah. All right. There's you. You're driving,
We're
Macallan?
like
Yeah, I'm driving.
We're like true gentlemen right now. We're drinking the scotch at the UNF UNF
we go.
podcast here. Fight Family podcast with the
All right.
scotch.
All right, well, cheers to Mejalee getting back on fucking March.
Cheers
Happy
to
to be
Mejalee.
here.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
Mejalee, you don't drink whiskey, right? Oh no,
Nah.
Mejalee's driving, so we can't do
I'm
that.
driving.
Cheers.
Cheers.
cheers. What do you think Up Next should be doing next?
You know, I can't find pull this up. I can't find a ton of holes in the UNF game. I mean, that's why we're here. You know, it's me and Mejalee had a long, hard conversation with this. I was like, dude, they're just killing it. You guys got 155,000 followers on Instagram. You're consistent. You're honorable. I think that UNF finding a way to incorporate the guys that are striking focused into the UNF banner, I think is a game changer because there's such a gap. And however you guys do it, I know it's going to be great. So I don't even want to comment on how you should do it, whether it be cage Muay Thai or striking or joint events with, multiple types of fights. But I think that the infrastructure is there. Up Next is there. I think really capitalizing on bringing in, and maybe not at first to pro level, because I feel in the local community, the pro striking game is not as deep right? But there's a ton of amazing, you guys work with some of them, amazing strikers. I mean, Cameron's fighting on this fight. He's an amazing striker. You guys have had some other guys that have fought that are strikers. And I think you guys bringing that in the whatever manner in which Up Next does it, I mean, I'm going to be bringing you more people. I know Majalee's. I mean, now you're talking about you. I know you love your storylines and your marketing. Now you want to talk about double champs, right?
Ooh.
Because you're going to have, imagine
Granado.
Mejalee.
Granado, Spencer,
Right.
all
Now
those
you're
dudes
talking
are all
about
those dudes are
Mejalee
striking
being
champs.
the UNF MMA champ.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about, yeah, bro, but you come take the striking belt from me. Now you're taking the MMA guys to come challenge you in your game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Listen,
in your game, you got me.
You're right
but
up our fucking alley.
I still got the striking belt. You know, come bang with me. And I think that the good guys are going to rise to the challenge. I know Mejalee, he's MMA, but
There's dudes I'd fight 3 or 4 times. We can fight in MMA. We can go fight Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Let's go jiu-jitsu.
Listen,
I don't care.
We've talked about some. We gotta just fucking, really execute on it. But we love that. We want number one. We want to be a one-stop shop for all our athletes and our key guys. So if you want to do boxing, you have the opportunity Up Next. You want to do MMA, obviously MMA is our fucking game. But you want to do Muay Thai, or you want to do some type of submission grappling or whatever. We want to have all that shit under the banner. But I think like the way you're going with this, like we have all these divisions and we have champs. Like how cool would that be if there's
I didn't even fucking think about that.
striking
Is
champ,
so cool.
MMA champ, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
and you're challenging, guys at the most, honest level of the game, because again, let's say Mejalee fights whoever and wins the MMA belt, now it's like, the guys that are pure strikers, it's like, yeah, I may not do MMA, but you want to claim, because everybody talks in their MMA podcast, like my striking's excellent.
Yeah.
My ground, and it very well may be, but is your striking excellent when you're forced to only strike? Is it that excellent? You don't get to tap in the striking game. You got to stand there and either bang or quit.
Well, it's a
Or
good thing
not
too, because
get
you see a
knocked
lot of wrestlers end up having success on the feet,
Right.
even against strikers sometimes, because they're so worried about a fucking takedown, or
right.
whatever it may be. Yeah, so no, I fucking love it. I mean, we've talked in general about doing something like this, but
Yeah, but I'm kind of geeking out now because I wasn't looking at it. I've always looked at being a full combat sports promotion, right? But I didn't look at the champion, being a champion in MMA and a champion in our strikers division. And then now I'm geeking out like designing the belt, UNF strikers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
imagine somebody like Granado. You know what I mean? His strike. I mean, he's not going to the ground in an MMA fight. Even his MMA fights are all striking. So imagine him.
I mean, shit, he got a takedown in our
He
fight.
did. He did earlier, just to mix it up, dude.
He looked
Fucking
so
baller.
good in that.
Baller,
and
bro.
again, maybe as a coach, maybe a little reckless. I don't know. You can analyze that. But from a fan perspective, he looked so good in that fight.
Yep.
He was lighting up Attila like it was crazy.
I think he got a little too comfortable. It's what the only thing I
Probably,
took from
but
it. Just
again,
a little bit, but like not even.
I'm not
listen,
an aficionado,
when you're
I'm
also
a
fighting
fan.
another striker like Attila, you have this small of like a margin of error
Yeah.
too. Like that's who you're
That
fighting.
is the striking
But
game
when
for
you're
you.
having your way and like probably landed like 50 significant strikes to like 3 to Attila's
millions
in
of views on that fight, which
Yeah,
is
shit had like
crazy.
5 million views on Instagram, which is pretty
And
nuts.
when you bring these strikers over here, these guys, your Granados and your Cameron Spencers and a lot of these guys that I know would love to fight under what Up Next offers, you got to understand a lot of these guys too is you go take a guy that's fought in 10-ounce gloves, and I got a bunch of fights in 10-ounce gloves, and you put him in what are the UNF gloves? What are
Pros are
6 ounce for
6
Amis and then 4 for
six.
pros,
You go
yeah.
put him in 6-ounce gloves. I mean, that's it's a light year difference on how much you got to make sure you defend. You have less glove coverage, but I think that's what's going to make it really exciting for the UNF fans is you're going to have a bunch of strikers come over, just like one did. You're going to put 6-ounce gloves on them, and these guys' hands are going to be epic fast. These guys are going to be epic fast. It's going to be vicious. It's going to be really, really cool for the fans. At the end of the day, let's be real. Everybody knows what a punch in the face is. Not everybody knows what a Peruvian necktie is. So I feel like you guys capture a much broader demographic. I feel like, and you know what the thing is, sorry, my business mind is going 1,000 miles an hour.
Go. Give it to me, John.
The Up Next banner, it fits under the Up Next banner very easily because Up Next is not Up Next MMA.
Yeah, it's Up Next
It's Up
fighting.
Next
And
fighting.
we did that on purpose.
Right?
Who's up next,
Who's up
bro?
next? Who's up in the
Who
striking
wants
game?
it?
Who's up in
Yeah.
the submission
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu game? You know what I mean? Subversive may hate me, but you could probably, you're going to have a lot of guys that go for some. The cage is set up. Do it in a cage. And I think it's just going to be really sick. So if I'm in your guys' position, however you guys make it work, I think that, there's going to be a lot of guys in the Southern California that would be overjoyed to put 6-ounce gloves on and come and bang in that cage. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That's going to be killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
How
something we
should the
need to
belt
do.
look, Mejalee?
Ooh, for the striking belt.
Yeah, so this is our pro. That's our Rising Stars, as you well know.
Of course, yeah.
I thought he was going to pull an Edgar and say with my name on it, but no. But he's humble. He's good. I like it.
That
Like,
gets funny.
no,
yeah.
Majalee's a humble dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I like
color.
maybe incorporating the colors. I really like the light blue somehow. I don't know if we'd like change the color. I don't know.
I like your
I don't know.
idea,
I
man.
like this belt though. I have 2 of these at home. They sit right next to my desk every day. They're out in the open,
Yeah.
right next to all my
Earned
law
and
books and
deserved,
stuff.
brother. Earned and deserved.
Every day.
I like
Use this bad
Majalee's
boy.
idea. I think make it a totally different color so it stands out.
100%.
So when a
Yeah, I
guy's
honestly
holding
think
it,
like we'd have to brand the
bam.
logo as maybe like a red or something like
Yeah.
for each
The
fucking
blue you
discipline
and
of
then
like
strikers.
yeah, like
Yeah.
What would you do one for, I mean, really, would it just be strikers or would it be Muay Thai, kickboxing? If we do.
I think you call it strikers just because I mean you don't hold yourself to just doing Muay Thai. You could do kickboxing, Muay Thai, I don't know, other shit too.
Yeah.
I'll call it I like strikers.
Yeah.
I think striking's a good word. I'm
We're gonna hop on this because now we're gonna give everyone ideas about
I know,
what we're gonna
yeah,
do.
they're
We're gonna
gonna
hop on
copy
this
it tomorrow.
today.
Muay Thai, most of the casual people, the Muay Thai diehards in this community, they know what Muay Thai means, right? It means box Thai is what it translates to. But I think when you have up next Muay Thai to the broader audience, which you run a business, you want to capture as
Yep.
many fans as you can. I think if you have up next Muay Thai, as much as I love that it pays homage to Muay Thai, pure Muay Thai with the elbow, with the clinch, knees to the head, I think up next striking is going to appeal to a broad demographic because everybody
point.
understands what striking is. And I can't tell you how many times I tell people and they're like, what do you teach? I teach Muay Thai. And they're like, what? And I always give them the same answer. I go, it's kickboxing, but not the flag football version.
Yeah.
Right. It's with elbows. Right. And, right.
Flag football
Majalee's
version.
not the flag football version.
Yeah. Everywhere we go.
Everywhere we go.
necessarily.
And I say kickboxing, it immediately makes sense. So I think
Yeah.
taking that a step, let's expand on that, taking it a step further. Up next striking is going to make sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He holds the up next MMA belt and he holds the up next striking belt. Bam. It everybody just gets it.
Yeah. I
love it.
right. And whether that striking match be a boxing match or that be under the Muay Thai rule set, I think if you market it from a striking perspective,
Yep.
you're
Totally
going to,
aligned.
the
Yeah, yeah.
fans are going to
Makes a lot
immediately
of
just
sense.
get it. Yeah.
Exactly the
No
way
matter
you
what to say
described
about
how
you,
it
John,
should
you're
be
pretty
done.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
all right.
officially
Yeah.
on the UNF advisory board
Yeah.
now.
He knows a little
zero
bit.
comp- zero compensation, though.
Zero compensation. I'm fine. I'll do it for
Sorry.
free. I'm putting you on the board, the pro bono board.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
That's all we can afford.
No, I would love to. I mean, there would be no need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, for a fighter to even though this is just in talks, right? Nothing set in stone. From a fighter's perspective, to have people that are in charge of even thinking like this, right? Like is amazing. Because like, let's say we've had fighters, right? They maybe lose a fight. Let's say I got beat on the ground game, or I got beat in striking, right? I got pounded out in striking. To know that they're at least thinking of making something, right? I can still be under the same banner, come strike, right? They're already familiar with me. That's helping build my career. If I need help with striking, hey, Chris Ryan, I need help with striking. All right, we'll get you a striking match. We can get you a striking match. Hey, I suck at grappling. Okay, we could get you a grappling match. All under the same banner. Like, dude, that helps build your career. To even know that there's people in charge that are thinking like that is like, that's amazing.
Well, it's always been our goal from day one. We just didn't feel we could execute to be a full combat sports promotion until kind of this year is the year we've said, okay, now we've got to get these other things in play.
I think you do it gradually too, because there's going to be some learning curve. And I think a mixed show, understand that has some implications with as far as, referees and the rule sets and as far as, maybe multiple governing bodies there. You may have to have camo and something like an IKF there. That creates some logistics issues for you guys. But I think starting smaller, and I don't mean smaller from a caliber of fight perspective. I mean, maybe have an MMA show with 2 striking fights as part of the new, and you just put together to start off, to learn the guys, learn the thing, you put together 2 really good striking fights. These
makes
are
a lot
under
of
Muay Thai
sense.
rules with the Muay Thai elbow. And now you're not trying to, as you guys learn the, let's call it the striking community you may not be familiar with, now you're only dealing with a couple guys that are going to show up, aren't going to pull out.
Exactly.
There's some killers out there in this community that are, if they give you their word, they're going to show up. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And you could get some really good quality fights. And I think minimal grief for you guys as far as running a business early on. I think that would just be amazing. My business mind is just going.
No,
I love it.
right now.
Everything you've said makes complete sense. Cheers to that, bro.
Cheers to that. You know what I mean? So I see a future up next striking champ. First one.
Yeah.
Ooh. First, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Mejalee, what else is going on with you outside the cage, outside the training side of things?
Outside the cage right now, staying busy. I'm still in school right now. In law school, still pushing through that. Not that long ago, recently just got engaged. So I proposed to my
Congrats.
long-term girlfriend. So yeah, just moving along, just growing,
love it.
expanding, and Yeah, still in school though. That's been my main focus.
What type of law do you want to study? I mean, what type of law do you want to practice once you're done with
I
school?
want to be involved around athletes. I don't know exactly how, or
Love
you know,
that.
I just want to be involved around athletes. If that's helping them with the contracts, helping them with, you know, things like off the field, as they say, whatever. If that's helping with sponsorships, anything, I don't care. I just want to be involved around athletes, specifically fighters.
I think
If I
there's
could be around fighters, man, I'm happy.
yeah, I think there's a big void of management and representation for pro athletes, good quality
Yeah.
people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I just think that you know, my perspective, I'd be able to add just something different because I'm actually a fighter that's been in the cage. I'm an action athlete. I'm not just some guy who went to school and you know I'm cookie cutter and I know how contracts are. It's like no, dude, I've been through it before. I know what it's like to go through a weight cut. So I think I'd be able to add, you know, just a different layer that other you know managers or agents wouldn't be able to add.
Yeah,
so that's
for
what I'm
sure.
hoping. That's what I'm hoping for.
How much longer you got in law school, Mejalee?
So it should be like 2 to 3 more years. So I did a part-time program. I'm at Laverne right now. Just got through my first semester, went really well. There's some things that should be happening. I think I might be, well, we'll see how it goes, but I think I might be like the 1L representative, which is like a representative for the whole class. I think I might get
Awesome.
voted. They're
It's like a
kind of
team
talking.
captain type of thing.
Yeah, pretty
There you go.
much. They're kind of like trying to vote me into something like that. So we'll see how it goes. It's been going really well at school. I love it. It's extremely hard, but it's really comparable to the fight game. It's like the same thing. You get what you give. You know what I mean? It's all about work.
How do you keep pushing and kicking with, you know, law school, trying to become a professional MMA fighter, maybe all the other, you know, noise going on in your life? Like how are you dialed, or what advice would you give to someone else that's trying to juggle all those things and, you know, be great, essentially?
We were talking about it earlier, bro. It sounds super cliche, but you know, it's really just work. That's the only difference between you and, you know, the other man, especially when it comes down to like law. Of course, there's people, like we said, there's unicorns they're just smart. There's certain people that they just read, they get it. But like 9 times out of 10, a lot of the people that I see, these good lawyers or good professors, I'm like, oh, they just sat there with it and they just refused to give up and they just kept chipping and they kept chipping, they kept chipping. And then eventually they're there. So I just think it's really about having balance and just reminding yourself of, you know, this is what you want to do, bro. Just keep chipping away. It's not going to be like a famous Nipsey Hussle said this before. It's like when you build a brick wall, obviously you're going to set one brick, right? And you're going to step back. It's not going to look like a brick wall, but you continue to build brick by brick by brick. Eventually you step back, you have a whole brick wall and you're like, oh shit, you know? But if I'm just focused on this single brick and I step back, of course, it's not going to look like a brick wall, bro. It just takes time.
But how do you let people know that it's a process, right? Because I think in today's generation, everybody, it's all about immediate gratification. They want success right now. They want the nice car right now. They want everything now and aren't always willing to put the work in, is what it seems to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Just being authentic of where you're at. Like me and Cody talked about this before. He's like, I'd rather much hear like a rapper that's talking about exactly what they're going through. And, hey, bro, I was broke and this is what happened and look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'd much rather hear that instead of hearing somebody that's fronting, acting like they have it, or look at my car, but it's actually rented. Look at this. Dude, just be authentic with yourself. Right now, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through in life. And I'm, you know what I mean? I want to be a fighter. I want to be a lawyer. This is where I'm at right now. You can come on this journey with me. I'm just being myself. This is what, you know, I'm putting out towards people.
Do you guys find that it's kind of a bummer that the world today, to me, seems very inauthentic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where a lot of people are fronting like they have this, or success is defined on how many likes they get, or, you know, things like that, or the car they have, or the jewelry that they're boasting about. Like
social media, I mean, it's been both it's been one of the biggest blessings and it's been one of the biggest curses at the same time. Is because, you know, I was watching a funny comedian the other day talk about his thing. He's like, you know, man, you pull up social media and, you know, guys are on yachts with chicks and and it's fake or not. And you put it down and you're in your cubicle, you know? And I think for a lot of people who may not necessarily have a very strong mindset, it can be very demotivating to people, right? Where they look at it and see it, you know, maybe a guy like you or me and Mejalee, we see that and we're like, we got to figure out a way to get a yacht. You know, other people look at it and like, I'm never going to be nothing. You know, and so I think social media can be a big curse there. Is it can be obsessive and people can look at it and it can create very, very negative connotations to where you're like, I'm never going to have that. My life sucks. And not necessarily aspire. And other people look at it and like, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You guys growing up without having social media, it's probably easier for you guys in the sense of like,
we had to actually go talk to girls.
You guys already had to go talk to girls.
Yeah.
But not,
we had to actually go talk to
you
girls.
know, you couldn't fake, like, not even flex, but seeing people on yachts every time you open up your Instagram wasn't there. Seeing this, seeing that.
Yeah.
People had it, but you know, nowadays I think when you're a little younger, like when we have kids, like everyone right away, they're going to have access to social media unless, we do our best to get them off their phone and whatnot. But right from the beginning, they're already seeing that and comparing themselves to these people or seeing that shit, like it's even, we were talking a little bit like, but it's like the craziest shit. But like there's like back in the day, I feel like girls didn't reveal themselves so much with the bikini pictures and all that shit until OnlyFans. Nowadays, you got girls I know are good girls, but they're doing it because everyone else is doing it. Like, like posting this kind of picture, doing this kind of shit. So I think it just sucks that the way the world is today, we've
different. Normalized
exactly
that kind of stuff, which I think is really sad. Like, especially for my generation.
It's not even normalized. You're cool to be doing it. Or like, it's cool.
People feel like, okay, everybody else does it, so I'm going to do it. I just feel like it's a bummer. And I think too, it's like, why does this person like me? Right? Like at the end of the day, you want people to like you because you're a genuinely good person, things like that, not because of what I have.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So to me, I think, especially you found the one you love. You're married. I'm married. I feel good for guys like you that are out there trying to find but trying to find the right. Why does she like me? Does she like me just because I run an MMA promotion, have a nice car, and have a little money? Like, or is this real and genuine? Like the world today is just so inauthentic.
I see it in the fight game too.
Oh God, yeah.
I see it in the fight game where I've had students come to me and new students, and probably why I have like 5 students because I'm just super harsh about it. But they'll come to me and they'll be like, I'm doing a strike, and be like, I've watched a lot on YouTube. And I'm like, that's good. And I've literally had guys that I've been with at MMA gyms, and I'll sit there and talk to them, and I mind my piece. And they're like, yeah, no, I don't really need to go striking. 'Cause I watch it on YouTube. And yeah, the great thing about social media, YouTube and thing, you have the entire collective knowledge of human evolution in the palm of your hand. That's a beautiful thing if utilized the right way. The problem is it has its limitations. So you go and watch, it could be Yod in Thailand, some of the best Thais doing tutorial videos, right? That's great. It allows you to see what to do right. But what coaching is telling you what you're doing wrong, right? And that's like giving you the feedback, right? And that's so much where a coach comes in is you don't need to be the greatest fighter ever to be a good coach. What you need to do is be really objective. Me and Mejalee for years, like we didn't have a gym, and it was just, we literally trained in the garage, and we just didn't have a gym, and we're grateful. There's some great times, but it was me and him, and he'd do it, and it was just literally, I'd say like, no, you're dropping your left hand, right kick's too low, great. He can watch 1 million YouTube videos in the world that may have better information than I'm giving him as far as the technique, right? They may be more advanced or better coaches or more experienced, but that YouTube can't give you the feedback of what you're doing wrong. And I see the young generation thinking they can learn it all from YouTube or an Instagram reel, but you're not getting that constructive criticism back of, hey, your kick sucks. We'll get more out of it. And that's its limitation.
I think social media too just makes it look easier than it is, right?
Yep.
People, like you said, you could just watch this YouTube video and they're, oh, okay, I can do it, or I can mimic it, or this is what it is. And a lot of times, right, it's not as easy as it seems. This person that is posting that yacht, they didn't post what it took to get that yacht. You know what I mean? I'm sure if they'd have posted that, you wouldn't have been that interested in that. You know what I mean? So there's steps that are also not being shown on social media. And I just think that people, big thing that I'm going to, with this year is like a mindset of like comparison is the thief of joy. You don't have to compare anything you're going through to what anybody else is going through fight wise, financially. There's nothing else. I'm on my, journey, my path.
That's right.
Right. And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. There's no mistakes in my journey or my path.
There should be no comparisons, right? Your success is your success. Like to me, I've always brought Ryan up also, like, I don't care what you do in life, as long as you're a good, honest, hardworking person. You could be a janitor. You could be a valet guy. You can run a fucking multi-billion-dollar company. I don't give a shit. As long as you're happy and you're successful in what you want to be doing. I think that's unfortunately what I think a lot of people are missing.
Comparison's the worst. It's a great saying because at the end of the day, there's always someone more or less successful than you. Relative to those, poor folks in Darfur that are getting murdered today, like we're in Woodland Hills, chilling, having a podcast, drinking some beautiful whiskey. There's people literally starving in the desert right now. So it's all relative. Right now, we're chilling and everything. There's a guy in Monaco on his $100 million yacht. So trying to create your happiness from a basis of comparison is you're never going to be satisfied. Yeah. You're absolutely never going to be satisfied. Never.
No. Very, very true. Yeah. It's crazy.
But I love it. I love everything that's going on right now, this path that I'm on, how hard it is, how difficult my days are. The fact that I'm only, 5-6 hours of sleep is a good night for me. That's okay. This is exactly what it's supposed to feel like. Like, I just have to remind myself of that sometimes.
Have you always been like that, Mejalee? Like, how were you brought up? I mean,
yeah. So, no, my parents raised us the right way, right? I didn't grow up having, everything, but I grew up with the necessities that I needed. Yeah. My parents always were going to work hard. I could also say that my parents were never one. Not that anybody, not to downplay that anybody has to do these things, but my dad was big on that of like, hey, it doesn't matter how much we're struggling. We're not getting government assistance. We're not doing any of that. Like, I'll go get 3 jobs before I get a handout because that's gonna, he has 3 boys. That's gonna make you guys think that nobody's gonna give you a handout. So I'm not gonna go get a handout. I'd rather work 3 jobs. I'm sorry I'm not here, but I'm gonna do what I have to do. So you guys know that, life's not easy. So my parents never, expected a handout, never, church going people. Just did what they had to do, to get by. My family moved out of LA. That was a big thing. My dad didn't want us involved in gangs and stuff, so he moved us out as soon as we were born. That was his big thing, is like get us out of LA, get us out of Compton. We still have a ton of family that's back there, but that was my dad's biggest thing, is let's get you out of, this environment, and you guys are gonna know that, it's gonna be a struggle in these new areas, right? It's not as cheap to live over here as it is over here, but we're not getting any assistance. You're gonna see me work 2, 3 jobs at a time if that's what it takes, and we're gonna do the right things. And we've always been like that, regardless of how much money we had or whatever. My dad's raised us on, dude, you do the right things, especially when nobody's looking. That's when you do the right things. So that's kind of how
that's one of my sayings too.
The true testament.
That's kind of how I was raised. And then
that's a true character of a real man.
My mom's tough nose, straight from Compton. She's the one that pushed us to think like good isn't good enough. Good isn't good enough. Which sounds kind of harsh. At times I'm like, hey, Mom, yeah, you did good, but good isn't good enough. And that's just always stuck with me, right? That like, even if you're doing good, right? There's always another
take
level.
It to another level, yeah.
Dude, don't get comfortable. That's what my mom, and I think that's why I go crazy with school. I go because good isn't good enough. What is just 1 law degree? What is just 1 degree? What is a master's degree? There's more. If I can do more. Now, if that's where I capped out and that's what, that's the path that I'm on, that's completely fine. But if I can do more, if I can go to law school and fight, why would I not? I know that might sound crazy to other people, but why can't I? Like what rule is saying that I can't do that?
I see it in his work ethic all the time.
Why not?
Yeah, with Muay Thai, like I'll ask him, I'll tell him like, that sucks, I'm not happy with that, or this, that. And it's crazy because we'll have a training session, and I kind of just learned this about him the other day. I didn't realize how much he worked on his own skills at his bag at home or just put in time, and he'll come back and I'm like, I'm not happy with that. That sucks, right? And keep in mind, I'm like nitpicking the last 2% that I'm not happy with. Right?
You are that dude,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm like, literally,
you
dude,
are
I'm
a
like,
quarter of a centimeter.
You know what I mean? By any measure, like that was amazing right hand. And I'm like, nah, when you came back, like it was 2 centimeters. And if I tell him it sucks, he'll come back and and I'll tell him the next time, I'm like, dude, how did you get that much better in like 1 session? And what I've learned is, to your mom, good is not good enough. He goes home and does it on his own. And I think a lot of these fighters too is that's something I've learned as a coach, is like, wow, like the guys that are going to get light years better. I have other members of our team that have been with us the same amount of time, and like Majalee's up here and they're down here, and they work their ass off. And I've sat here and thought as a coach, like, what is a common denominator here? And what I've learned is his work ethic. When nobody's looking, he's working on himself and working on it by himself. And it's something that like I've come to learn about him. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's why I push the shit out of him. I push the shit out of him all the time. I'm like, bro, you have a real opportunity. Fight game is a finite thing. Yeah. Our biggest, and everybody, I think, is the biggest lesson I've learned from my coach. He's like, your enemy in this game is not other coaches. Your enemy is time. This is a young man's game. Sure. There's the unicorns that can fight at 36, but biology, your reflexes go, your timing goes, the skill is there, old man strength is real.
Recovery,
but you have a short window. 25 to 35 is the sweet spot. So if you're going to go for this, fucking go for it. And I push him hard to go for it because, and now that his work ethic it shows, and it shows in the skill level of, guys, we don't train a lot. My whole time knowing Mejalee, we train maybe 2-3 days a week, 4 times when we're in fight camp. He's not out there grinding it 5 days a week with me, but his striking has improved so much because he's working it when nobody's looking. He's out there doing it and putting in that extra.
Well, he's investing in himself.
Investing in himself.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think too, like, again, I think you have to invest in your craft if you want to be the best. You can't just do what people are asking. You have to go above and beyond. I think that's what makes you special. Yeah. Right? And I think that's why you see the potential in Mejalee.
Up next too, we're sitting in it. You guys invest. Your craft is promoting fights. You guys invest in your craft, this room. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's some bum promotions out there. Let's be real. There's some homeless promotions out there.
Yeah, no,
I know you guys want to be diplomatic, but I'll just say it. There's some homeless promotions. No. I've had promotions. That's how bad some of these are. I want to go on my soapbox real quick. I've had promotions dealing with me and Mejalee, and I won't say their name. That's not important to the conversation, but they wanted to talk about ticket sales before they wanted to talk about
Yeah.
fights. I've
Before an
dealt with
opponent,
you.
yeah.
You've always talked about what's the best matchup, what can we make. The ticket sales were a sidebar conversation, right? Same with George Francis, fighters
Yeah.
rep. Love him, miss him. It was always about what's the best for your development, what's the best fight I can make for you and the promotion, right? And I've had promotions are like literally the conversation about, oh, you want to fight? Like, what are your ticket sales like? I'm like, okay, well, what do you guys got? What are you thinking for opponents? Opponent, schmonent, we'll figure that out. What are you thinking for ticket sales? I'm like, wow, dude. Wow, that's where your mindset's at. You know, and we're like, all right, we're good. You know, so
I think that's the problem, right? Like they're looking at their athlete as a number instead of as, you know, a partner in this. And I think that's where our mentality is different. Like we're definitely partners,
yep.
you know, with our athletes.
Your work ethic shows in the fight, you know, in the fight game, just like all of ours does.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but to piggyback on that, yeah, I think it's the things that you do when, you know, nobody's looking. It's super easy to work when everybody's looking and you're motivated and you feel like doing it, right? It's easy to get up and run. What about at 5 a.m. when it's 34 degrees outside?
Yep.
Do you feel like doing it? Are you still going to force yourself to get up? It's that little switch of the mindset. I think just winning those little, checking off little things per day, right? That's what eventually helps me. Like when I do get in a big fight where I am in finals for law school, I'm like, I got this, bro. I did all those little things. I know I'm willing to go that extra mile. I know I am. Or I'm going to die trying. Like I'm going to die trying straight
I really
up.
think
Like,
it's that discipline, right? It's like you said, wake up at 5 a.m. It's fucking freezing cold time. And you don't want to go run, but you know you need to. Like it's just a thing you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, to me, right, it's not even that you need to. To me, the mindset has to be you have to.
Yep.
Like there cannot be a choice, right? Like you've gotta be successful.
Yeah, if as a man, right, and you just start thinking, like I said, I'm a big thinker. Imagine if I only did the things that I wanted to do. I don't know, you know what I mean? What would I actually, right? A lot of times I don't want to do any of it. I don't want to read. I would like to just lay down and chill, right? That's would be ideal, right? But you got to work towards that. Eventually I want to be 40, 50 years old and be able to lay down and relax and know I put in work. I'm okay.
Yeah, you can want to be okay. Have the freedom too. I mean, it's also that, you know, eventually make money, have a great career, leave a good legacy behind. And if you want to go take a week vacation on the beach somewhere, you put yourself in a position to go do that. You know?
Absolutely. And being able to, another thing you guys said earlier, just being able to go anywhere. Because I want to be involved in this fight game. I want to be, you know, get my law degree and be involved. Another thing is like, you know, my name being able to carry weight, right? And if I'm screwing people over, even now in my amateur career, if I'm known as a shithead early on, it's probably not going to translate well 20, 30 years down the road. You know, me and Coach talked about it. He's like, dude, your name is going to enter rooms before you do. People are going to talk about you in this room before you enter that room. So just make sure that, you know, what do you want people to think about you? Do you want to be, and this is something, he's probably not going to say this, but this is something that I've worked on even in the last couple of years, is just like he said, dude, just being late. Right? You said practice starts at 6, you show up at 6:03. That type of shit matters. I know it's only 3 minutes, right? And he busts my balls about it. Okay, if Dana White was here, would you have showed at 6:03? Oh, okay, you're right. No, and it takes, you have to also self-reflect and be like, no, okay, it's 6:03. What does it matter? What does it matter? That's what I've been saying. Come on, coach. I work harder than everybody. Yeah, you're right. But I said practice started at 6. Why are you here at 6:03? Yeah. And it's real, right? It's fucking, it's
so
100%
like, this
real.
used to drive me crazy even when I first started working for his PI company. But, you know, we would go meet law enforcement at certain times. It's called 2:00. We would be in that parking lot for like 45 minutes waiting for the meeting to start. Number one is we always left on time, even if there was traffic.
He didn't want to risk being late.
We'd still be 10, 15 minutes early, even if there was traffic. And if not, we're there. And this is a guy that has, you know, he could use that 45 minutes as
to do
some valuable
right?
time for work and everything. But, you know, it's about how you treat people when you're going to go meet them and how you represent yourself. You know what I mean? So
Well, it's
I learned that
respect
also.
too,
And I was
right? Like if I have a meet, like we work with some people that are consistently late. Drives me fucking bonkers. So my normal business, if we have a Teams meeting or something with client, whoever, I have a policy. You log on 2 minutes before, you know, and you're on camera ready to rock and roll 2 minutes before. And then you get other people that dribble in like 2 minutes late, 3 minutes late, like that we're working with. I'm just like, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people take that too far, as life doesn't need to be that rigid, right? Meaning if there's an important task at hand, fine. If I'm like, Ryan, you want to come over and watch the football game? And he says, I'll be there at 12 and you show up at 12, 17. Who gives a shit, right? But like your time's valuable, my time's valuable. I mean, like I you know, you know, for somebody who's looking, you know, when we go to meet with you guys or we go to meet with the UFC or we go, you know, whoever wants to pay you money, I want them to be like, dude, that dude's always on time. He's there and he's matter. That's the content of your character. It's like, dude, you did what you say. And if I say I'm going to be there at 12, I'm there at 12 or before. These guys, all my students, it's funny. I'm sitting there when we have students and I watch, and as soon as that shit hits 3, where we're at, because I don't want them to say, oh, that's just a picture of 3 o'clock. I hold my watch up to the background of where we should be, and I take a picture and I send it to him.
He says, "What the fuck?
What the fuck? Where you guys at?
I've sent people home like if they, they come in like 5 minutes. Oh, okay, no, it's okay. You're supposed to read this time. We don't need you today. Not a problem.
Yeah, I do it. That's a great example too. I do it with my students when I'm like push-ups or we're doing sit-ups right now. And people don't realize this, especially in the fight game. Your mind quits far before your body quits. Your mind is the biggest fucking quitter you will ever experience in your life. And once you recognize that and own it, it's like Oracle at Delphi, know thyself. Once you know thyself and know your mind is a big fat quitter and you recognize that, you can like level up your game. And I always describe it. I'm telling people to do sit-ups. I do this with the kids all the time, like sit-ups, right? I'm like, okay, you're doing sit-ups. I'm like, give me 2 more. And they're like, I can't. I'm like, bro, imagine right now I went to the car and I pulled a Pelican briefcase and I sat that shit right next to you and I opened it and there's just racks, $10,000 racks there. And I said, give me 2 more sit-ups.
You'd figure
2 more
it the fuck out.
sit-ups, and I get that. And what are you going to do? I guarantee you, bro, you're doing the sit-ups. You're going to do the sit-ups. Same thing. If you're late, if you know there's $1 million contract on there at the line, Dana says just be there at 12. You know what we're doing? You're going to leave at 8 a.m. Woodland Hills is an hour away. You're going to leave at 8, so you're 3.5 hours early because you're not going to miss your $1 million. Yeah. So why is that $1 million important to your character, but being on time for Chris's meeting not important to your character? Because they're still reflective of your character.
Yeah.
It's just being a professional overall. It's something that I've learned in law school too, and something that they've drilled us on as far as being late. And they don't care. They're like, if you don't want this education, right? We're saying that the final is this time. They don't give you your final schedule until like a month before. So, you're going through school and they're like, oh yeah, finals is December 6th at this time at 9 a.m. You either show up or you don't. Yep. And if you don't show up, guess what? Kick rocks. We don't care. And you're like, oh, okay. So I have to have my stuff in order. And I think it's just a part of just growing up. It's just something that you need to learn. Just because it's a fight game, that doesn't mean anything. You still carry yourself like a professional. And these are the things that I want people to remember about me, even after I'm done fighting, right? Yep. Regardless of how far this takes me, I want them to be like, no, this dude is legit. Everything he said.
Class act.
He's a class act. He showed up. He's a people's champ. We don't have to fucking worry about him not doing this. If he says it, he means it. And I think that matters more than anything. Another
little thing we changed about how we operate too, and I'll go this to all the opponents, and I know Ryan's going to potentially be making a match for March. Hopefully, see how it goes. But we kind of work together as a team. I was like, you know what, both Up Next and our opponent, you deserve an answer in 24 hours. So if we're offered a fight, I feel like respectfully, this is one thing I want to change. We deserve to give you an answer in 24 hours. I want everybody who's willing to fight me or our team, commitment. If Ryan calls me at 3 o'clock for a fight, there's not going to be this 2 or 3, we're on vacation. It's going to be by 3 the F next day. You'll have our answer, period. And you can know those guys stand by their word without a doubt. They'll have an answer.
But I tell you, when we work with people like that, you make the whole process that much easier and help us run a more professional organization. And I think kind of what you guys were talking about, I think where this is going, if we all sort of level up and conduct ourselves like more professionally, the fight game just improves, right? We improve it for so many.
And honestly, what people
are
saying, I love that. It's like, every second matters with like the machine we have Up Next, anything that we have to do for social media promotion, medicals, tickets,
banners, posters,
whatever it is,
everything.
So like every second, but obviously I understand people needing 24. Maybe even my thing I tell guys is, hey, let me know in 48 hours. Otherwise, I'm assuming you don't want it, and I'm moving on to the next person or offering to someone else. Yeah. But when you hold yourself like that and like respectful of like the promotion you're working with, like everything's a lot better when people get back to me within. Even medicals, like answer me like within an hour, so I know if I need to help you book, or you got it, or whatnot, or I'm waiting for 3 days. Then I gotta follow up with you again, and it could throw me off. I got fucking 50. Like this fight card, I got 40 fighters I'm talking to, whether it's tickets, medicals, potentially collabing on social media, whatever it is. So the faster people can do it, honestly, makes my job easier. And just I fucking
and then
it.
we can improve the whole experience for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Too, right? If you conduct yourselves like professionals, the experience gets better for you and everybody else.
And the weigh-ins are a great thing. I mean, think about the Up Next weigh-ins. We've gone to your guys' weigh-in. You're not waiting 2-3 hours. If there's
people do comment us like we have the best fucking smoothest weigh-in.
That makes a world of a difference on that day. That is my day.
They're mad as fuck. I mean, I don't even want to be around his ass when he's cutting weight. I'm like, go.
It's amazing.
And you guys are like, bam, bam, bam.
Yo. We cut some heat a few events ago just because the doctors were so fucking late, so that extended it. But that was beyond our control.
Yeah, you're not gonna bat 1,000. Yeah, if you're batting 900, you're still better than everybody else.
I say, look, we just need to do everything we could or we should be doing. We can't control everything. As long as our hands are clean, then we're good.
100%.
If it's because of commission, doctors, whatever, they're late, that's good. As long as our team's not late.
Yeah, it's just well run. I mean, all the weigh-ins, like, dude, this shit is like, come to your thing. You guys got food. You guys do what we're doing right now. It's just really cool to see. If you want to be an MMA fighter, you're not taking advantage of it, and you're stupid.
Yeah, and like I said, as Up Next is offering a platform for all of us fighters. Like, there's been a lot of people that have burned a lot of promotions and stuff, and promotions have wanted to get away from Southern California. Like, if we have a good machine here, let's not waste it as fighters. I'm speaking to all fighters, I'm speaking to all of us, dude. Like, let's not waste this. This is a great opportunity. This is a machine that's getting people to the UFC, getting people to the highest level. Bro, like, let's take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. And, just fucking show up. Just show up.
And do your part. If everyone shows up and does their part, you can make some beautiful shit happen.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly.
It's
Hard
crazy.
work beats talent every day. Hard work beats talent every day.
All the time.
So,
well, this has been fucking good.
Yeah.
We've almost gone for like 2 hours almost.
Yep.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Just going away.
Be curious how many people actually watch it full 2 hours. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, on YouTube and people watching full episodes is always a challenge. On social, it does really fucking well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the amount of people that get eyes on it's pretty good.
Nowadays, people's attention spans can't last two hours long most of the time, but
And
There'll be some opponents that watch this. There's gonna be some opponents that
definitely.
fucking.
To
if
me,
you're smart,
like I don't get too hung up on the views and this and that. It's just like us being able to sit down and get to know each other, and we're putting it out there. So whoever watches it fucking watches it. But at least we're putting it out there. You know what I mean?
Hell
That's kind of
yeah.
how I look at it.
Comparison is a thief of joy. I stopped paying attention. I don't care about likes. I don't care about anything. I'm putting the story out, right? Who follows, and who likes it, right? And at the end of the day, too, we get so hung up, right? With like, oh, I got 100 likes. Like, bro, if 100 people came up to you and were like, hey, I like that shirt, that's fucking 100 people, bro. That's good, bro. So let's not get caught up in this whole social media. This matters more than this or this.
100%.
Dude, it's okay. It's all right.
And I want to add a, getting close to the end here, I want to add a thank you to you guys because, even, us, Mejalee focusing, getting, law school, getting everything dialed in, and then coming back under the Up Next banner, and you guys welcome with open arms. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. I just want to say it point blank. The truth matters. These guys had to strip Mejalee. Straight up. You guys stripped him, not because he was undeserving. You were right or he was wrong. It was the nature of where the collective things were at.
That's what
and
happened.
It was without a question. And when we called you up, it wasn't like, well, there was no animosity. It was like, hey, welcome you back. We're happy to be with you. And that is like an amazing testament of the caliber of promotion you guys run. And I think everybody needs to look at that and be grateful. So thank you guys. I called you up. I'm like, hey, Ryan, can I get a meeting? It wasn't 5 hours to get back to me. It wasn't blowing me off or whatever. It wasn't like, oh, that guy, was whatever. It was like, great, when can we meet? Boom. Next week, we're sitting down and we're talking. So conduct yourself as gentlemen, conduct yourself as professionals, because you got a promotion here that's willing to do the same.
Yeah, as fighters too, just learning and growing. A lot of the fighters that are fighting under Up Next right now, you guys are 19, 20, young, right? And this is like your first business deal, quote unquote, right? So just realize that you should hold yourself like professional, and it's okay that you don't see eye to eye or that you maybe didn't get on this card or anything like that. Dude, hold yourself like a professional. Trust me, they see it. Everybody sees it. And if you're training hard, you'll get your shot. But nothing's worse than getting your shot and not being ready. So fucking make sure you're ready. Carry yourself like a professional, because every dog gets their day. I'm a firm believer in that. I believe every dog gets their day. You know what I mean? Every dog is gonna get fed. You just sit by that bowl, you wait, and you're gonna get fed. You know what I mean? But you don't believe in the process and you leave and then there's food there, then you know what I mean? You miss out on your opportunity. So Up Next is giving us a freaking shot. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. Hold yourself like a professional. And even if you don't see eye to eye, it's good, dude.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Good.
Wise words. Well, this was fucking fun with you guys. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Last little sip.
Mejalee is going to be fighting in March.
Yes, sir.
Thank
I'll
you,
be
sir.
back
We'll
in
see
March.
who he's going to be fighting, but we're stoked to have you back, brother, and really can't wait.
I'll
See
be
you
there
guys
in
on the
March, and I'll be there
31st.
January 31st to watch, some exciting fights. So you guys, please tune into those. I will be there, possibly even doing a face-off. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Let's do that. I can't wait.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This episode of the Fight Family Podcast is sponsored by Sunrise Ford and Stay Down.